Welcome into the live stream for Hand Raised Guys, presented by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Neal, Chase, you probably know us by now. We'll be with you for the next, a little bit. We're going to, Ben Mintz will join on hour number 1, giving people a little bit of time to jump into the stream. I was worried for a minute there we were having some internet issues, but I don't think I am.
We're okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's internet issues. But there's like a much bigger delay than usual.
What are we talking about?
Well, like the delay from the
inside the studio page, I've been up for about 10 seconds, something like that on mine.
On the countdown or in general?
Yeah, on the countdown.
So the countdown's like at 4 minutes and something?
No. I'm saying it's up.
Oh, okay.
It's only about a 15-second delay on mine.
So what I'm looking at, the countdown still at like 1:45.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But anyway, we'll get rolling here in a bit. Got Bills and Rams about to get started. They just sang the national anthem, so kickoff a little ways away, but it'll be here before you know it. The NFL season
has arrived.
So we made it.
2 days away from Ole Miss, Central Arkansas, the Rebels, and the Bears.
I got to tell you that all the weather talk has me a little like, oh God.
Really?
Yeah, I'm worried about what lightning delays.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good in a FCS game, would it?
No, that's where you go, hey, can we just stop?
Central Arkansas was the opponent when Mike told me it was a horseshit question that night. That was Central Arkansas.
Oh, yeah. I don't think Lane would ever tell you that it was a horseshit question.
He would make fun of you, but in his own sarcastic way.
In his own sarcastic.
It would not be as straightforward there as that was.
Starting to get a little bit more activity in the threads. Maybe it's catching up. Anyway, well, let me get started on the audition file, and we'll get rolling here.
Welcome in, Hand Raised Guys, this Thursday evening. Kind of capping a huge week of podcast. As always, football season is here. Ole Miss and Central Arkansas a couple days away. Rebels will move to 2-0 at some point Saturday night around 9 o'clock or so. Neal's hoping around 9 o'clock or so, not... We were just discussing lightning delays and weather issues and Mother Nature annoyances over the course of Saturday night, but hopefully we get it in as you would hope there with that. So we'll be with you here tonight. We're going to talk to Ben Mintz, Barstool Sports, coming up in the first hour. If you're listening to this in podcast form, they will be separated into 2 different shows as we've been doing the last few weeks. It's worked really well for us. So you will get us and Ben Mintz in hour number 1. You'll get us and calls in hour number 2. If you were, again, listening from a podcast standpoint, we've got Rams and Bills on the TV. It is the start of the 2022 NFL season tonight. Great game to kick that off. The defending Super Bowl champions against the AFC runner-up Buffalo Bills. Bills favored by 2.5 as we're just a few minutes here from kickoff in that one. So hope you've had a good week. Hope you've enjoyed our MPW Digital selections that we have brought to you. Still more to come, obviously, and thanks to rebelgrove.com. In the meantime as well, we'll have tons of content on the site Saturday night after Ole Miss and Central Arkansas come back. Hang with me. We probably will discuss a little Rebels and Bears, but we'll be watching BYU, Baylor. We've got Kentucky, Florida. Got some stuff going on there, and State and Arizona on Saturday night. So all that and more, and the podcast brought to you all the time, every single day, by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. We told you this morning, we're going to tell you again now. If you go in, you just purchase anything, make any purchase at all, hand them cash, swipe a credit card, you can enter in to win an official Ole Miss game jersey from any game this season. They're going to give 7 away, so you can be one of 7 winners for a game jersey. That's the Blue Sky location here in Oxford on Highway 6 West. So take advantage of that, buy multiple things, then you get to go in multiple times. You get to enter as many times as you want. There's no limit to it. You can keep purchasing items and keep entering into the contest to win official game jerseys there with the Blue Sky. Tomorrow, as you know by now, because we got into a tangent about a couple weeks ago, spaghetti is your lunch special tomorrow. Fountain drinks, bread, and more. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are. Clark Ford is in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900 is the number. You call it. You ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. If you want to have some fun with Corey, you could ask him about today's Adam Carolla show. It's pretty funny. The guy from the Babylon Bee, they played a little game about spinning the wheel. I was laughing out loud as I was walking in my neighborhood listening to it. And I called Corey, and he happened to have just finished listening to it, and so we shared a giggle because we're both Corolla fans. And anyway, you can ask him about that. Then you can ask him for a quote, and he'll send it to you within 15 minutes in business hours, right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest completely up to you. Shop that quote around. Do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today, 662-257-1900. Ben Mintz. Other guests join on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford. Great place to grab a burger, a po' boy. They got great appetizers, great beer selection, full bar, and more. I know Friday nights it kind of becomes a college crowd. Saturday nights kind of becomes a college crowd. But before that, go in, enjoy, take a stop at Rafters on the Square in Oxford, and also Rafters in New Albany. Chase was mentioning all of the content on the site. There is a lot up today. Let's see. We've got Butcher versus the Spin Instructor. That's brought to you by LB's Meat Market, 2008 University Avenue in Oxford. The freshest cuts at LB's, whether it's steak, chicken, pork, house-made sausages, seafood, stuffed jalapenos, stuffed mushrooms, bacon-wrapped asparagus, plate lunches, the works. They've got it at LB's Meat Market, 2008 University Avenue in Oxford. Campbell McCready has a one-game lead over Greg Jones going into week number 2, so that competition very much up in the air in entering week 2. We've got Pete's Pigskin Preview with Pete DeWeese up on the site as well as he reviews Ole Miss and Troy, gets you ready for Ole Miss and Central Arkansas. That's brought to you by Walk-On's Sports Bistro. Walk-On Sports Bistro puts everything they've got into bringing you game day with the taste of Louisiana. Dig into their mouth-watering, made-from-scratch Louisiana cuisine like po' boys, gumbo, and voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers, fresh salads, all in front of 70-plus TVs, 40-plus ice-cold beers on tap. Visit them today in Oxford or Ridgeland. Tyler Siskey and I recorded McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel, earlier today as well. That's up where you get podcasts, or it's up on Spotify. We're hoping that by the next little bit, it'll be up. By the time you hear this, we're hoping, or see this or whatnot, we hope it's up on Apple. We're having Apple problems. We're not alone. Other podcasts are having Apple issues as well.
Does that make you feel better?
No, okay. It does not. It's kind of like when you came home from school and you said, Mom, I made a D on the test. And she said, why'd you make a D?
Everybody made a D.
The worst damn thing you could say is, well, Kevin made a D. That did not go well. I learned quickly that was not a sufficient answer.
Even like, what percentage would it take to make a D? There is no percentage.
Nope.
Okay.
You made a D.
That's all that really matters.
It's all that matters.
I guess it's a good point. If our show's not up, I really don't give a damn.
Does it matter? Does it matter to you if what's his name, Collins' show isn't up? I don't even know his name. He just cheered me in the thing. Cheered me. Yeah, he cheered me. I've gotten cheered, and
he probably would enjoy some emojis and things if he had the options for some different cheers. I would think.
I think he right. I have a feeling that he and I might be kindred spirits, and his emojis might be similar to mine. I have a feeling he's not into nudging. He's into shoving.
Okay.
So no, it does mean no good that other podcasts are down also. Doesn't help me a bit.
Good point.
I mean, when Carly Ann comes home and says, Daddy, I failed the test, does it make it any better that little Johnny failed the test too? I mean, tell me. Probably not.
She can't get into college by going, well, Johnny sucked too. That's not going to pull it off, is it?
How old is she?
Well, she's only 6. I mean, we got to.
Well, no, I'm trying to think. Well, in 12 years, if we keep on this pace, yeah, that might work.
Oh, you think
that might get her in.
I see you had a D. Well, but Kevin and Jen had a D too.
That's a great point.
Okay.
We're sorry. We hope we're not triggered. The teacher gave me a D and I'm triggered. Well, then we give you an A. Would that make you less triggered? It would? Okay, here's your A. Anyway, that's up as well. Mind on My Money is up. It's brought to you by Pinnacle, mypinwealth.com. If you're tired of trying to manage your 401k and other things on your own, go to Martin Palomo and the people at Pinnacle, mypinwealth.com. I think that covers what we've done today.
Is that it?
I think so.
You're having a beer, no honey and water or anything to kind of keep the larynx going. Okay.
No, I'm good.
You start the Thursday show pretty high energy,
and I'm still pretty high energy. Well, I had a rain at 2 o'clock.
Well. Woo! You're ready to go.
Coursing through your veins.
What flavor, Joe?
What did I have today? The sherbet, the rainbow sherbet.
Okay.
Which is good. It's kind of orangey.
What's your favorite?
My favorite is the high octane one that tastes like fruit punch. The Red Dragon. I think that's my favorite.
How are you on fruit punch as a flavor in general?
Love it.
Oh, you do really? It's one of my least favorite, artificial flavors.
Oh yeah, yeah. Love it. I mean, I haven't had it in a gazillion years.
I'd rather have orange or strawberry or watermelon or.
Yeah, I like orange. I like.
I like lemon.
I like grape. I like lemon.
Yeah. Banana, of course.
I don't like watermelon.
I don't like grape artificial flavor because it doesn't actually taste like grape.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, you're right. And I don't really like the taste of grapes per se, although unless they're fermented, at which point I like them a lot.
I read, this might not be true at all, so this is one of those where the podcast tomorrow is going to be like, yeah, you're an idiot, this isn't true. I'm admitting right now it's not true. I read somewhere that when artificial grape, this is true, or at least that I read it, I don't know if it's true or not. I read somewhere that artificial flavoring for grape, when it became a thing years ago, whenever that was, that I guess we had a different strain of grape that we got back then, and it actually tasted much more likely that they based it off that flavor. But at some point, the way the grapes are grown or matriculated into America that we are used to for our grapes, the flavor has actually changed over the years, which has put it further away from whatever that original flavor was.
Well, that's interesting.
Ago. Yeah.
So did wine taste different years ago than it does today?
Now you want to go back and go, well, what did that wine taste like? I mean,
yeah. I'm curious.
Now I'm interested.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like strawberry flavoring a lot. Like those kind of like those flavored sodas, like a strawberry soda or something was a kid. I mean, something like that. Yeah, I'm in. But I didn't like the knee-high. I didn't like the grape. Or not new grape. Not knee-high's not, that's peach. New grape. Yeah, not a fan.
Yeah, Siski says it's cherry flavored, but I think it's more fruit punch.
You think it's fruit punch?
I do.
I mean, those are kind of...
It's similar, but it's not the
cherry's
same.
a better flavor to me.
Grape talk, let's party. I mean, if you want hardcore football, we've got it all up and down the side. I mean, it's everywhere. It's typically not here. Although we're about to give you some with Ben in a minute. So
NFL,
some college, but mostly NFL. So this is Tirico and Collinsworth with the NBC. Okay, so they'll do a game tonight.
Purple ties,
and they'll do a game. Is that for the Queen?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. You think so?
I don't know. Probably. Did you watch much of the coverage of that today?
Watched some, and I've read a lot. I'm not somebody who does a ton of royal family kind of whatever, but her life is fascinating and amazing, and the strain of decades that she has been such a huge piece of history in is phenomenal. It really is. It's remarkable when you dive into her life.
Her first trip to America as the monarch, President Eisenhower invited her to the White House. President Eisenhower. He was the one before Kennedy, for those who aren't familiar with American history.
I believe I read somewhere that she has gone through 15 prime ministers, and she has met all but one U.S. president since 1952.
Which one did she not meet?
I don't know.
I know she met Kennedy because she was enamored with Jackie Kennedy.
I don't know.
Think about that for a minute. She was invited as the Queen of England to the White House with Dwight Eisenhower as president. He was the president who preceded John Kennedy, who was murdered some 59 years ago.
60 years.
59 years ago. That is remarkable. What an incredible life.
SPD said she met with Truman.
Yes, she met Ford because Memphis Rebel says, did she meet Ford? She did meet Ford because she and Ford very famously danced at the White House.
That is.
When she was coronated, Neville Chamberlain was the prime minister. Is that right?
Wow.
And then it was Winston Churchill, who she was most famous for her relationship with him during World War II.
She was.
Isn't that correct?
No,
that's not correct.
Because she's 52, I believe, is when she went in, right?
Okay.
Yeah, 52, because she just did her Platinum Jubilee, which was 70 years as the monarch.
Okay.
So she went in as 52.
Incredible.
Yeah, CBS News here has a story. It's Queen Elizabeth's storied history of meeting U.S. presidents.
I know she met Reagan because she.
So my number's a little high. 13 American presidents. Well, no, there wasn't a number. Yeah, 13 American presidents.
She and Reagan had that photo where they're riding horses together in England, I believe.
She has a picture with Eisenhower in Scotland.
Kennedy went to England to meet her.
Oh, really?
Yes.
She met Trump.
Yeah, she met Trump.
They were at Windsor Castle in this picture.
Her
Obama,
last trip to the U.S., it was Obama was in the White House.
Carter, both Bushes, Reagan on the horse. It's not telling me who she has not met during this period, but I saw somewhere today that there is one, which process elimination. I mean, you would think over the course of 8 years she would have met Clinton.
Yeah, she did meet Clinton. I've seen a picture of them together. I know she met Clinton. She met both Bushes. She met Obama, Trump. She's met Biden.
So who are we missing?
She met Ford. She met Carter. So someone's saying Lyndon Johnson, which would make sense.
Because I don't have a Lyndon Johnson.
She met Kennedy.
So it is Lyndon Johnson.
That would be.
Because that's the only one left.
She met Reagan.
We went through the rest of them.
Right.
Okay, so it's Lyndon Johnson. So since Harry S. Truman,
yeah,
she has met every president but Lyndon Johnson.
What an incredible.
Oh, my.
Yeah, what an incredible spot in history.
She lives to that age. Philip died at 99.
Yeah. He died a year ago, right?
21.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I read that since they called it like Project Unicorn or something, since she did not pass away in England, there's a different protocol. I think Charles was supposed to speak to the country at some point in the first 24 hours, and then is being
officially coronated.
Yeah, whatever that word is, tomorrow.
Though he became king the moment she died.
Right, but of the ceremony or whatnot. And then her funeral will be on day 10 after her death. She will lie in state for
10 days.
Yeah, 23 hours a day viewing possibilities for the public.
Is that right?
Yes, 23 hours a day. That's the way I understood it. And then funeral on the 10th day. Yes.
Can you imagine the security for that funeral? All the current and former heads of state from all of these countries. Yeah.
That list will be.
How many of the former presidents will go? Carter's probably not in health enough to go.
It's hard to say because without knowing kind of what her relationship was or wasn't with so many of them. I mean, that's an impossible question, but 5.
Bush, Obama, Clinton.
Well, I say 5. Hell, there's only a couple living. I don't know why I'm doing
Trump
that.
got his passport back?
I don't. Yeah, I'm being stupid with numbers. I'm not really thinking. Yeah, I would expect Bush, Clinton, and Obama to be there.
That'd be my guess.
Yeah. So never mind. 4.
I don't know who that is singing the national anthem. Do you? Pop culture is not my realm. No, it is not likely that Prince Harry ever becomes the king.
No, the line of succession does not.
It's
because it goes to William and then his kids.
Yeah, Prince William will become king after King Charles.
Yes,
kicks it.
Yeah, and then if something happened to him prior, it will go down the line, not to Harry and down.
Right.
Which I guess with the current situation, it wouldn't anyway. But
it would go to William's kids.
Yes, that is the way I understand. Because it stays through his bloodline down, not the brother, is the way I understood it.
Didn't the brother give up his?
That's what I'm saying. He wouldn't be anyway.
Right.
Yeah, that is correct.
He sacrificed it for what's her name?
Yeah.
Meghan Markle.
Uh-huh.
Wonder if he thinks that was worth it now.
You questioning that? Well, he wouldn't be the king anyway. He wasn't in the line of
succession. He could have knocked, if he'd stayed in line, he could have knocked, at this point, he could have knocked his brother off and gotten in line.
Oh, well. Not since the
They don't seem that close.
It also, I don't know how old. I don't know who's Williams' kids. I don't know what order they're in because they changed it in the last few years. It can also go through females as well. So like Caroline can assume the queenship as a fully reigning queen.
Okay. Caroline is Williams' daughter.
I think. If I'm wrong,
the oldest is a boy, right?
I believe so. Yeah. Again, if I'm wrong, guys, I'm spitballing here. I'm doing the best I can. This is not my strong suit. But I read just enough to be dangerous today.
Like they're bringing out the Rock to.
What are we doing? We had the national anthem like 20 minutes ago, didn't we? Or they were singing something 20 minutes ago.
Hey, man, I just got stuff on TVs.
What are we doing?
I don't know what you expect from me. I feel like I'm doing the best I can right now. Yes, she has absolutely met Biden.
The Rams did go with road unis at home, so
the Bills went blue pants.
They screwed it up on you.
Makes me glad I didn't bet on them. Could have just gone with the white pants, which is such a good look. Instead, they went blue pants, like a big blue.
I wonder whose decision that is in the NFL. Who chooses the uniform?
Starting pitcher?
Well, thanks.
I don't know. I mean, the Rams went with their best.
That's
their look.
Got no issue with that.
No, I have no problem. But I don't like the blue pants. Put the white pants on, and we've got a uniform game.
Oh,
just where you got to take a moment of silence.
So you picking the Bills to win this game?
I kind of think the Rams are going to win it, but I don't know why. Did you have a big day? What'd you do?
No, I felt. I mean, today's the first day I feel normal. I finished the book, so I'm.
Oh, are you done?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not out, but yes,
but it's out of your hands.
I am done writing. I have to run through it and edit, like when I get the proof back. But no, all the writing is done. So yeah, it's.
When'd you finish?
Yesterday.
Oh.
Yeah. Maybe 2 days ago. I don't know. It's all running together, but something like that. Yeah, there at the end, I hated it. I could tell my writing had gotten worse, and I was just sick of it and just make it go away. And it was bothering me because I'd left, just by function, I had left the third chapter for the end because I knew I didn't like that chapter, and there was nothing I really wanted to do in it. So it just kind of sat there. So I stared at it for like a month going, I got to write that chapter, and I don't want to write
and so
that
it
chapter.
Got your worst writing.
Oh, it was terrible. And then part of me is like, shit, that's chapter 3, too. It's like kind of early when you're still getting into it a little bit. I'm like, can y'all just skip over to like chapter 11? It's
kind
of
like Iowa's offense. You punt on third down.
Well, and everybody knows the story of the thing, too. It's kind of like, hey, they got to get the help out of them for a little while to get to the other part.
Yeah.
You know? So it's a little bit of, you got to read through some losses to get to the stuff you guys want to see, which is not completely chronological, but yeah, no, it's fine. It's all good. Like I said, I think just worker in general, I think it's made me better. I mean, time-wise, understanding what busy looks like, I mean, I do. I kind of feel different, I'll be honest. I think it's changed me. I mean, seriously.
Made you more efficient?
Yeah, I mean, I think in that way, I mean, I think completing a project of that length, I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff. I mean, frankly, I'm not sure that, and we don't do enough of it. We don't write a ton of long-form stuff, but I think it made me a better writer. I think I got deep into it and kind of realized I was recognizing things, when to be a little shorter, when to be a little whatever. I think it did. I think I improved in multiple ways with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think this job's made me a worse writer.
Because we don't do a lot of big source, big stuff.
Yeah.
Frankly, because even reporting is okay, we'll make a message board post. It's not, hey, how do we really delve this?
Well, and I just don't know that that's what people want.
Because I've done feature stories of good length, and in the last year or so. I mean, we did Mark Robinson. We've done good stuff like that. But I don't know that I've like really investigated in reporting anything since Boyce was hired. That might be the last time I wrote the really long thing that also took a lot of reporting with it. Where it wasn't like, hey, let me talk to the mom and the kid, and grab some stats. Where it was like, no, like, let's dig.
Right.
I think it's been since Boyce there. So we're talking fall of 19? Almost 3 years. Because Boyce was hired, fall of 19.
Yeah. I can't remember the last time I did long-form reporting. I've written long-form features, but I don't know when I've done coaching searches, I guess. But even that's different.
Yeah, because you're not putting it all into a 2,500 word, 4,000 word story where you're really going at it.
It's been a long time since I was in Mobile, probably.
Because if it's really good breaking news, it's like, look, I got to get up on the board.
Right.
Just let people know.
Right.
All right, now we'll go from there.
Yeah, I still think I'm a decent reporter, but I don't know that I'm a decent. I don't know where I'd put my writing anymore. It's not good. It used to be fairly good.
I think it's gotten weaker.
Oh, I know it has.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like anything else. I mean, if you don't practice something, it gets worse. If you don't lift weights, you get weaker. If you don't keep running, you lose your conditioning. Yeah, of course. If you don't keep writing, your writing deteriorates. Sure.
Because there's a rhythm you have to keep up. There's a
well, and I mean, come on, you write like recruiting crap. It's not
writing.
I know that's what fans want and stuff, but there's no writing involved in that. Not a lot of reporting involved in that. It's just kind of, frankly, it's kind of trash journalism. If we're just being honest. I realize people want to read about a kid that commits to whatever, and we write it, and we'll continue to write it, but it's not, from a journalism standpoint, it's not exactly fulfilling work. Right? You're not getting a lot out of it.
In no way whatsoever.
And so, in the way that access is done now, frankly, where we drop, well, this is complicated. The stories that would be fulfilling to go right are stories about like where you'd get tons of access, where you could really sit down and talk to somebody. Like there's a story that I would love to write right now, and I might get to write it at some point. It's going to take some time. And it would take some travel and it would take some reporting, but there are always stories like with soccer and sports like that where you get tons of access, softball, things like that.
Sure.
But there's not a lot of mass appeal to that. Oh, sure, you'd get the 15, 20 people that are like, oh, that was a great story, but then you look at the analytics on that story and realize that most people didn't read it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
And so then you weren't exactly being efficient with your time, as opposed to some of the stuff we write over the course of, here's an example. What's one of the most read things we do all week? Snap counts. There's no writing in it.
Literally. It takes 10 minutes.
And that's who played how many snaps? And they immediately noticed that you left out Michael Trigg.
Yeah.
Oh, where's Trigg?
Yeah.
It's amazing to me. So the interaction on that story, I'm not making fun either.
No,
I just noticed it. Like you left out Michael Trigg.
I did.
And they immediately know, where the hell's Trigg?
Within like 3 minutes. It was like,
where's Tywan Malone? Did he not play? So the interaction on that story is off the charts.
Because I love the interaction, but my favorite thing is I go, what about so-and-so? He didn't play. I saw him. He was on special teams. I don't have, I'd have him, but he didn't play offense. I don't know. Yeah, it's.
Bills in the end zone, first drive of the season.
Oh. Because Brandon Mack didn't play.
No. Well,
that was a story.
I told you about this.
Demond Clowney didn't play.
Those guys were off the field.
Yeah.
They didn't go shake hands. They didn't stay for the little half field prayer stuff thing. No, they're gone. They were pissed. and I thought to myself, well, those are your early candidates for the transfer portal. It's my first thought. Now
look, they play the position that Corey Coleman did a hell of a job at.
Yeah.
So, you would kind of too.
Sure.
Because he did all that havoc, speaking of snap counts, in 39 snaps.
Right. Leif says Kentucky Sports Radio said that Kentucky is holding Chris Rodriguez out due to the NCAA. Rumors he skipped out on an NIL appearance that was tied to the university.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard NIL.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I heard he was balking on NIL quid pro quos.
So many players. This is a potential problem for so many schools. So many players don't want NIL. They want pay for play. They just want to get paid.
Yeah, sure.
They don't want to do anything. And technically, you have to do something. It's one of the reasons I've been I've been over the top reluctant to get involved in it, because some of the stuff that's going on everywhere is basically a violation of NIL language. I mean, I feel good about what we do because there's a work product.
It's 100% right there.
It's right there. Like you see it with your own eyes. You can hear it with your ears. It's right there.
The prices make sense. Everything's cool.
Everything's done. 100%. I'm good.
We could argue market value all day long.
Oh, I could have a detailed conversation about market value.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's your journalism thing for the day.
No, well, look, people want information. Don't get me wrong. They want stories. I think there's still a market for long form. You just got to pick your spots. It's got to be the right thing. You got to know what in your head that makes sense.
You do. You got to have time to do it.
Brian's story on Jackson Dart was read like crazy.
It was great.
Yeah. Randall Joyner's wife read like crazy.
Yeah.
Mark Robinson read really heavily.
I mean, like I said, there's a story that I have in mind, but it would require at least a couple of days of travel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it would require some deep reporting. I'd have to talk to do it the way I'd like to do it. I'd have to really dig in on it, and I think it would be really good, and I probably would really enjoy it. But given the way that our business model is, I mean, I'd have to wait and do it in December.
Is that a time where it would still be good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I could still do it. As long as Ole Miss went to a bowl game.
Well, if they don't.
Yeah, and I could publish it the week of a bowl game, and it would probably be really good. And if I did it right, it probably would win awards and stuff. If I put it up for awards, and I probably
don't really do
because
that.
I don't care. But yeah, but it would take work, and it would just be different. I don't know. Maybe one day. So the Rams get their first possession of the season starting at their own 17, down 7-0. Matthew Stafford supposedly fully healthy and ready to go.
Henderson from Memphis gets the first carry of the season for the Rams.
Isn't he a Mississippi kid?
He is. Zapanola.
Oh, that's right. Huh. Sometimes you make mistakes.
He and Jannard Avery raising hands right now.
Oh, jeez. Jannard's still in the league.
Is he?
I think so.
Okay. Who'd they take instead of Henderson? And now look, he had no SEC offers. I'm not even really making fun.
I can't remember.
As the Brits would say, I'm taking a piss a little bit, but like it's.
I can't remember who all they took. I don't even know what year that was. But he's in the backfield for the Super Bowl champs, so.
It worked out.
Yeah.
It went okay.
The rest of the SEC made a mistake, too.
I wonder how many Bills fans are there. It's got to be a ton.
Oh, I'm sure. Tons.
I'm sure they made an event out of that week. Is that Buffalo's a top 3 home game that you might want to go to, right?
Yeah.
Top 5 for sure.
Oh, top 3. Yeah. I'd like to go there. I'd like to go. It might be top 1.
I mean, you've done Lambeau.
I've done Lambeau. I've done Kansas City.
Which is a good one.
It was great.
That's a good one.
It was great. Done New Orleans, which is obviously one of the best ones.
I mean, Seattle is loud.
Yeah, I've heard their fans cheer.
Yeah. I don't know that I want to go to Seattle though for that. The Seahawks I don't think make my list. For a big game, I think Denver would be cool.
Denver would be cool. I've done Houston. Done Cleveland.
I mean, Vegas is probably neat now. The Raiders.
Vegas is probably pretty cool for a home game.
People are still not covering Cooper Kupp.
Where else have I been? I've been to a bunch of places. I've been to the Minnesota, but to the old arena, our stadium. Indianapolis, but that was the old one. I haven't been to Lucas Oil. I've been to Chicago. Dallas. Yeah, I don't know. There's a bunch. Grind's with me on Kansas State covering them. Hoping that's the case. A lot of people telling me I'm way off on that one, so who knows. Did you see my Iowa stat today? Did you hear my Iowa stat?
But it wasn't. Do we know what the actual true stat is?
Yeah, I gave it to you.
You about the 6-0-4 thing?
Uh-huh.
Well, what the other part of it was wrong. So somebody had said there was only been one other team ever that a team had won, and that's not correct. So
no, it's not that. It is
the Iowa part is correct though. Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Since 1897, teams whose offense gained less than 170 yards and did not score 4+ offensive points, according to this, now the record might be wrong, but it was 7 and 17,456 and 4.
Yeah, that's what I was telling you. We found one more in addition to the 7.
Okay.
We being the internet, not me.
So maybe there's one more, but regardless, Iowa owns 6 of those. Yale in 1903 beat Providence YMCA 3-0. Iowa is 6-0-4 in games where they put up those numbers. The rest of the country has a .0057 winning percentage. How about that?
Of course.
Go Hawkeyes.
Of course. Well, sure. Look, they did have a W on Saturday. They did win the game.
They won the game.
Look,
they won the game.
I think that's what their Twitter account said was we won.
Yeah, it did. I mean, listen. Houston Nutt would say there's nothing like a celebrated locker room. Never take a win for granted.
W.
Never take a win for granted.
An ugly win's a lot damn better than a pretty loss any day of the week.
That's what he'd say. There's no such thing as an ugly win.
Yeah.
No such thing.
It would.
Nothing like a celebrated locker room. You barely beat Central Arkansas. Nothing like a celebrated locker room.
Ooh.
Oh,
they went for it and didn't get it? No, they got the fourth down now. Okay.
See, even the Rams punt. Why is everybody picking on Iowa for punting?
They do.
Even the Rams punt. McVay got a new deal today.
Snead did too, the GM.
Yeah. Well, win a Super Bowl, get rewards. That's how it works.
I mean, Mickey Loomis still riding that bad boy in New Orleans.
Yeah. All these years.
He's done a good job.
He did. They had a good run. All right. We'll go to Ben Mintz before the NFL season gets too long. We'll dive into Ben, and then we'll come back and we'll talk to you guys. Here's Ben Mintz on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Ben Mintz from Barstool joins us. Been a little while. Ben, how you been?
I'm doing good. Just excited like you are that football season started. And, this week, NFL week 1, we're hitting week 2 of college football. I thought we had some, really good college football week 1 matchups too. A lot of crazy games and finishes last week. And so, I mean, you're obviously in this business like I am. This is what it's all about the next few months. So let's get it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. First, we'll get to the NFL in a minute. We'll get to some college. I'm asking you a couple of college games that I'm curious about. But first, what were your thoughts week 1 from what you saw from Ole Miss?
Love the way the defense is flying to the ball. I know Troy's not like some top offense, but I thought the defense looked tremendous in the first half. Held them to 111 yards in the first half. Overall, was really happy with that. I had high hopes for the offensive line and the running game. Certainly, Zach Evans looked great. The running back depth looked really good. Jackson Dart was about what I expected him to be. I think it's going to be a work in progress. He's young. He made a few mistakes. He made a couple good throws. He made a couple good runs with his legs. But, overall, a little up and down. But luckily for Ole Miss, I hate to sound like this, but September kind of feels like preseason, doesn't it?
Yeah,
when you look at the schedule, such a weak schedule, the first 4 games to try to get this thing sorted out. But I was overall very encouraged, especially by how fast the defense looked. I really like the speed.
Yeah, I've said this all along that if you inverted Ole Miss's schedule, I'd be really worried for them because I don't know that they're ready right now for the second half. But they don't have to. The way it shakes out, they have a little time to kind of iron some things out, figure some things out, and then obviously come October, it's going to get different. But it's like that for everybody. When the SEC rolls around, it gets hard. You were, speaking of SEC, you were at the LSU game in New Orleans on Sunday night. I guess first, what was the atmosphere at the end of that game, which seemed kind of crazy? And then secondly, you and I were talking about this right before we got started. There's this narrative that people are trying to create. And look, it might end up being right. Maybe Brian Kelly doesn't work at LSU over the long haul. I don't know. But people saying that now, I hear that and go, wait, what makes you jump to that conclusion this early in the game?
I've got a few thoughts on what happened Sunday. First of all, LSU didn't have any business having any chance to win that game at all. They muffed 2 punts inside their own 20, and Florida State got no points off that. Right before the half, they stopped them on a 4th down. And then that sequence at the end of the game, I mean, LSU stops them to get the ball back down 7. They muff that punt, and Florida State somehow fumbles a direct snap to the running back when they could have kneeled and kicked a field goal, and the thing was over. And then LSU gets a 99-yard touchdown drive only to have a blocked extra point to end it. I mean, Neal, I've been watching football 35 years. That was one of the craziest ending sequences I've ever seen, not to mention the untimed down that LSU scored on. So that just whole thing was nuts. Some thoughts on Sunday. Thought Florida State's fan base really showed out in the Superdome. I'll just say it. I thought LSU's fan base was real soft, considering the thing was at home in New Orleans for LSU.
Really? What do you make of it? What do you attribute that to?
I think there were about 60. I thought it was going to be 75-25 LSU in there, and it was 60-40. I mean, Florida State's fans were fired up, but I mean, I know LSU may have not looked great, but in the fourth quarter, they scored to make it a 7-point game, and there's no energy in the LSU section. I mean, say what you will about LSU, but the passion of the fan base, good or bad, was really never questioned that much for a long time. And, you're starting a new era in New Orleans, an hour from Baton Rouge. I couldn't believe that I thought it was that weak. I was shocked, to be honest.
You can have a couple of bad years, or in their case, just one really bad year, and people can kind of 2 bad years. People can kind of lose it a little bit. It takes a minute to get it back when you've taken some lumps for a couple of years, and it's not always guaranteed that you get it back, Ben.
So I just thought Brian Kelly starting a new era in New Orleans in a national game on Sunday night against Florida State. I thought that's a spot where the fan base would show out. That's my personal thoughts, but what do I know? But a big win for Florida State. The Kelly thing, I want to touch on that. Look, LSU dressed out 36 players in the Texas Bowl. I mean, you can't. I mean, it's one game. You got to give Brian Kelly time. I don't think you can, put all that on him. I think the panicking after one game is crazy.
All right, let's talk some of the games this weekend, just a handful of them. I'll get to some NFL stuff with you in a minute because I do want to get your NFL thoughts as people are watching this live or watching this on Thursday night as the NFL season gets started. They'll be hearing it on Friday before the full slate of NFL games. We hadn't talked a lot of NFL this week on our podcast. But there's some really intriguing college football games here in week 2 that I think might tell us a lot about individual teams. It might tell us a lot about leagues a little bit. I'm curious to get your thoughts on them.
Yes, there are some good.
Here's one that I'm actually really interested in. We haven't talked about it at all, but Missouri at Kansas State. This is going to give you a little bit of an idea about the middle of the Big 12, and I think it's going to give you an idea about the depth or lack thereof of the SEC. Like if Missouri goes into Manhattan and comes out with a win, you got to go, hey, man, the SEC might be deeper than it's been in a long time. And on the flip side, if they get popped, it might tell you a little bit more about the meat of the Big 12, and it might show you that there are going to be some dogs in the SEC.
I lean Missouri plus 7.5 here. Kansas State's notorious for playing close games as underdogs or as favorites. I don't trust Adrian Martinez. He threw for 53 yards last week. You look at his career at Nebraska, he doesn't take care of the football. And I think Missouri's got a really underrated defensive line this year. They've got a lot of seniors on there. They got NFL talent. I kind of feel like this is one of those games that's going to go to the wire either way. So I'll be taking Missouri in 7.5.
Okay, interesting. What do you make of Alabama and Texas? Did Texas have any chance at all to keep this thing competitive?
I don't think so because Texas is starting 3 true freshmen on the offensive line. I do think Texas had a really good recruiting class, but you're throwing out those 18-year-old freshmen. I just think it's asking a little too much. I mean, maybe they backdoor cover, but I can't see how they compete. I mean, 20.5 is a lot, but I mean, I'm Alabama or passing in this one.
Interesting game in Fayetteville. 2 teams, kind of middle of the pack SEC teams. Arkansas's really done well for a year and a half. South Carolina's got some momentum with Shane Beamer. It's an 8.5-point line is what I see. This is an 11 a.m. game on ESPN. What do you make of the Gamecocks and the Razorbacks?
I actually have a strong opinion on Arkansas in this game. I think South Carolina's been a very public, it came up on Pick Central today and everybody was talking about South Carolina. I don't believe in Spencer Rattler. I know he's got the arm and all the, attributes the scouts like, but I got to see more consistency from him. And I think Arkansas is a lot more tougher in the trenches than South Carolina on both sides of the ball. And the fact that they put that line at 9, I think they're baiting people to take South Carolina. I think Arkansas is going to smash them, to be honest.
Tennessee heads to Pittsburgh, 4.5-point favorite. The Vols, I'm high on them. I'm higher than most people. I think they're a potentially dynamic offense. Pittsburgh got escaped against West Virginia, got the win. What do you make of this game at Pitt?
Can't figure this one out, to be honest. Tennessee, I like their offense. I think Hooker is really playing well in Josh Heupel's system. Pitt did escape. Pitt's offense looked really weird. They were going under center some. They were shotgun some. They kind of never really felt like they were in a rhythm, even though Slovis did make some good throws. I mean, I guess I lean Tennessee if anybody here. I think Tennessee's pretty good this year, though, too. I mean, I think they're going to be like 8-4. But this is probably a stay away from me on the road.
I'm really curious to get your thoughts here. Kentucky's at Florida. This is a game between two good quarterbacks that NFL people will watch. There will be a ton of NFL scouts in the swamp on Saturday night to watch Richardson and to watch Will Levis. Kentucky's a 5-point underdog at Florida.
Man, I was big. I had Florida last week against Utah. I was on. And granted, I mean, I'm acting like, oh, yeah, I won that game. Look at me. I mean, that game was a coin flip. Utah threw an interception in their end zone. That game was a literal – it's one of those where you're, like, acting like I had the right side. But, I mean, either team could have won very easily. But Richardson did impress me. And I'm, from my Louisiana blood, I know all about Billy Napier. I think he's a hell of a coach. And I'm not surprised to see them have some success year one. This one just sets up kind of weird. Like, I feel like if Utah would have beat Florida, maybe I would have liked Florida more if the line was like 2 or 3. But 5 seems like a lot. But Florida has a great home field advantage. The Will Levis thing, he's like hype, but I still have questions about him. I mean, I think, he threw for over 200 yards in like one SEC game last year. But he's another one of those guys that's, 6'3", 6'4", with the big arm that checks the boxes. I mean, I guess I'm Florida or pass here. I know that's kind of a weak answer, but I think this is one I'm going to sit back and watch too.
As people watch this Thursday night, the Rams and Bills are going to be getting started, kicking off an NFL season. The NFL, to its everlasting credit, they never disappoint. They know how to schedule. They're going to put a great game on the opener. Should be a really fun game. Before we get to the games, though, do you buy all of the Bills hype as a Super Bowl favorite? Is this the year of the Buffalo Bills, or do you see some flaws there?
I think they're really good, but for every single analyst to pick them to win the Super Bowl may be a bit much. I do like the Von Miller signing. There's a ton to like about their team. Josh Allen is one of the premier guys in the NFL. McDermott's a heck of a coach. They get Trey White back. He tore his ACL last year. I think he's a huge difference maker. I think they're really good, but for them to be the unanimous favorite is a lot. I mean, you look at this line. I mean, they're a 2.5-point road favorite at the Rams. You'd think the Rams, the defending Super Bowl champs, would be a 3-point favorite at home here. That's usually what happens in a game like this. The home team that's defending Super Bowl champs would be favored by 3. So I'm looking at the Rams plus 2.5 if anything in this game, kind of because of that. I just feel like Buffalo is maybe a little overvalued. The line looks a little ratty, but I do think the Bills are really good this year. I'm not saying that, but I don't know. It's wild to me that Vegas has them power rated number 1 like that by that much.
If people are looking for some bargains, like here before the season starts, to go, hey, here I'm going to put $100 on a team to win the Super Bowl. Are there some bargains out there?
Man, well, last year the Bengals obviously gave hope to the bargains out there in the world.
For sure.
I mean, like last year, they certainly did. I mean, there were a few. Man, a lot of people are big on the Raiders this year as a longer shot. I'm not sure about that AFC West. I just think it's such a deep division. When you look at the quarterback play with Mahomes, Derek Carr, and Herbert and Russell Wilson, I kind of think they're all going to beat each other up. The NFC is a little more wide open this year. Green Bay losing Devontae Adams, Brady being a year older. Tampa's got a ton of injuries on their offensive line already. I mean, they lost their best 2 guards last year, and then Ryan Jensen, their all-pro center, is already out for the year. Brady missed all that training camp. I feel like they might start a little slow. How do the Rams come back? One team I'm looking at, they're 16-1. I don't know how Trey Lance is going to do this year. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm some Jedi, but I do know this. Kyle Shanahan's a hell of a football coach, and if he thinks Trey Lance is worth the number 3 overall pick in the draft, then I'm willing to give him benefit of the doubt. He almost won the Super Bowl, like made the NFC Championship last year with Garoppolo, and made the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, and didn't really get a ton out of Garoppolo. Like, I don't know.
What did you make of them? What did you make of them bringing Garoppolo back, though? Was that just them truly just an insurance policy, or did you view that as, they just don't really like what they're seeing out of Lance?
I'm going to say insurance policy, but I'm not totally sure on that front. I just know that when you look at the Niners, they know how to win playoff games. They have a great D-line. They're physical, and they can run the ball. If Lance, let's say there's a 20 or 30% shot Lance is awesome. If he actually is, though, they're going to be pretty unstoppable.
All right, let's run through some of these games. Tell me, just stop me when I get to one that you're like, I like this as a play.
Okay.
We talked about Buffalo and the Rams on Thursday night. On Sunday, the Ravens go to the Jets. The Ravens, a 7-point favorite in New Jersey there against a Jets team that's probably still a year or two away.
Joe Flacco starting against the Ravens. I don't know if you saw that news today. That's pretty – I can't see him beating the Ravens. I'm actually looking at under 44.5 in this game. I think the Jets may come out and play hard on defense, but I just can't see Flacco lighting Baltimore up. I don't think he's got it in him at this point. So, I'm kind of looking at the under there. The Ravens are like 92% public, so I don't know if I can take them, but I may take that under.
All right, you got the Colts at Houston, and this is one that on paper I look at it and go, give me Indianapolis, I'll lay the 7. But the Colts have lost like 6 openers in a row, something crazy like that. I saw the stat today, which doesn't mean anything, but kind of lent me some pause. And a 7-point line, 7-point favorite on the road is a big number. Anything about that game stick out?
My one thing on this game is I can't believe Houston hired Lovie Smith and Pep Hamilton like this is 20 years ago. I just don't know. Has Lovie evolved out of the Tampa too? Because that scheme's kind of dead in modern football. So I don't really know what to expect on that, but I think this is just I'm going to sit back and see what happens here. I don't have an opinion.
All right, interesting when Mitch Trubisky gets the start for Pittsburgh against Joe Burrow and the Bengals. The Bengals, a 6.5-point favorite at home in a noon game on Sunday.
Bengals have covered 8 games in a row. They've covered the last 4 regular season games and all 4 playoff games. Still just weird. Those division matchups, 6.5 is a ton in pro football. So, I hate to sound like this is a cop out, but I would probably staying away from this one.
Yeah,
too.
no, we're looking for bargains, not looking to throw money away. The Bears are going to be bad. They get 7 points though at home against the aforementioned Niners. Anything about that one stand out? It's an over/under of only 40.
Yeah, I'm Niners or nothing on this. I do think the Bears are going to be bad. They hired Matt Eberflus, the Colts defensive coordinator. I don't know how he's going to be the guy that coaches Justin Fields up. I think the Bears could be one of the worst teams in the NFL. But like I said, the Trey Lance thing, we just don't know what's coming here. So, I think the Niners win this game, but I just don't know.
All right, here's one that I really like. Tell me where I'm crazy. The Saints head to Atlanta as a 5.5-point favorite. I don't hate that play.
I think the Saints are going to win, but the Saints and Falcons, the Dirty South rivalry, these teams hate each other so much. It's kind of one of those just big rivalry games where it's hard to lay a lot of points because you know how hard fought it's going to be. But I do think the Saints will win, and I'm very excited to see Olave play for the Saints. I think he's going to be, really, really good.
Yeah, there's a part of me, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the Louisiana in me. I don't think that's it, though, because I've been gone a long time, and I've never been a Saints guy. There's something about the Saints that I keep kind of circling back to and going, I'm not all in on Tampa, and I won't be surprised if the Saints make this a super competitive division.
I took the Saints plus 340 to win the division. You mentioned some of the long shot bets. I liked what you said on that. The Bucs are over-favored. Both Carolina and Atlanta look pretty bad. So that was actually one of my plays this year was the Saints at plus 340 to win the South.
See, that's a bargain. I like that. That's not bad at all. I tell you another interesting game. There's going to be a lot of people who watched Hard Knocks on HBO who kind of not fell in love with, but really kind of liked the Detroit Lions, liked that show, kind of liked the culture that you saw. They're playing the Eagles. In a noon game, the Lions, a 4-point underdog against a Philadelphia team that's starting to kind of get some betting momentum as the team to beat in the NFC East.
Well, the Eagles here's the thing. They played last year in like week 4 or 5 in Detroit. Philly beat them 47-6. I kind of like Philly here. Neal, you mentioned it. I think the Lions are getting a little bit of America's team vibe from the Hard Knocks, and people may be wanting something that's not there, if that makes sense. I feel like.
That does make sense. That's a really good point. I think I agree with you. As much as I want to see the Lions do well for the story, it's still a lot of flaws on that team. All right, a game that I like. Talk me out of it, okay? Because it's an NFC South game. I like the Panthers at home minus the 1.5 against Cleveland. Tell me.
I do too. I like it too. I know everybody's gonna make a big deal about Mayfield against Cleveland, but Carolina's the last few years they get off to these like 3-0, 3-1 starts, and then they melt down. Cleveland, it's coming. They're just gonna try to run the crap out of the ball with Brissett and Nick Chubb. I like Carolina here to win this thing too. I think it's a good value at 1.5. I think they're going to pull this off.
Another one that I don't hate, I'm not going to bet it because I just don't trust the quarterback, but I don't hate the Dolphins at home minus 3.5 against a New England team that I think is being somewhat overvalued just because of reputation.
Well, the other thing too, if you look at New England's history in Miami, they play like crap down there all the time. I mean, they have even the great Patriots teams lose in Miami. I'm Miami or pass. The only thing with Miami, a lot of weird stuff went on at the end of that Flores era last year, man. There was a lot of, I don't know what happened. I don't know all the details, but it was just a little odd. And then also this Tua hype machine. I've never really been the biggest on Tua in the NFL, and the hype on this Miami bunch is a lot. I question if Tyreek Hill, I know the talent's there, but I feel like at some point there could be some kind of combustion in the locker room this year with him. If things don't go right. So I'm Miami or passing this one just because of how bad New England's played down there historically.
Yeah, I think I'm pass. I'm with you completely. This is one that I it's not going to be a good game, but from a betting standpoint, I'm kind of intrigued because I'm not completely out on Washington, and I don't know what I think about Jacksonville. Jacksonville heads to Washington as a 2.5 point underdog. The Commanders, it still feels weird to say that, giving 2.5 at home, and I kind of like Washington here.
I do like Washington in this game. I think this line's come down from 4 to 2.5. I think Washington this year, I don't know how to say it, the good bad team. They've got one of the weakest 5 schedules in the NFL. I think they have a chance to be a playoff team. I'm not saying they're great, but I think these are the kind of ugly games they can win. They've got a lot of talent in that front 7 on defense. They're hard to block, and I like them in this game. I think Jacksonville will improve with Doug Peterson and Lawrence, but I mean, remember how bad they were? I mean, they had the number 1 pick last year, and they're only catching 2.5 here. I think this is a little much. I like Washington in this game.
It is a indictment year one way or the other for Daniel Jones and the Giants. They open in Nashville against the Titans. They get 5.5. It just feels like a little bit of a big number for some reason. I don't know why I'm not completely sold on the Titans. I kind of picking the Colts to win that division. This is a game I think I stay away from, though. There's a part of me that looks at it and goes, 5.5. I could see Tennessee blowing them out in week 1.
I'm going Giants in the points here.
Oh.
I think look at and I like Tennessee, but man, Tennessee is just notorious for playing. Like when they're a big favorite, they play close games against people good and bad. They play up and down, and I think this is going to be a game that goes to the wire. I feel like I could see Tennessee win this by field goal a whole bunch, but I think the Giants are going to fight them week 1, and I'm going to take the points here.
Got a handful, including that one, a handful of really entertaining 325 games. The Chiefs at Arizona, Patrick Mahomes and company, giving 6 to the Cardinals. It's a Cardinals team that we'll be watching in November because they're the in-season Hard Knocks team. They had all the off-season stuff with Murray and all of that. It's I don't know. Tell me what you think.
That line went from KC by 2.5 all the way to 6. I wonder what the heck's going on. That's crazy. I mean, it's like 2 or 3 weeks ago, it was KC by 2.5. So, I mean, that makes me lean Arizona to the 6 as a home dog. I think KC is going to end up being good, but they're going to be figuring things out without Tyreek Hill. I mean, he was a humongous part of that offense. And, we'll see how Scott Moore, the second-round pick, does. But, man, that's an awful lot of big shoes to fill. And laying 6 on the road's a lot here. I mean, I think I like Arizona in the points, but I hate going against Patrick Mahomes. Haven't said that. So fun.
This is going to be a really good game. Raiders, Chargers, a lot of Chargers hype. I'm kind of in on it. I think Herbert's about to become a superstar in the league. It's a 3.5-point line. Chargers favored by 3.5 against a Raiders team that I think is going to be improved and is salty.
Yeah, well, so this is a rematch. Remember that Week 18 game last year where they played for that play spot and the Raiders won in overtime? That was the best game in the NFL last year. I think the Chargers have been licking their chops since that game. I'll tell you what else. I think the Khalil Mack to the Chargers could be the underrated move of the year. You know, a lot of people forgot about him, kind of like how the Rams got Von Miller last year, and we saw what that ended up meaning. You know, Khalil Mack's been stuck in a bad situation, and now he's on a team that can compete for a championship. I think he could really give them something to the pass rush. I like the Chargers in this game. And I think the Raiders could be pretty good this year. But I think after what happened in Week 18, the Chargers have had this game circled the entire offseason. I think they're going to come out and take care of them.
I think you're right. And that's an astute observation about Mack. He teams up with Watt. They adds to their kind of culture defensively. They've got some players there. And as Herbert sort of developing into his own, I like them. I like the Chargers a lot. That's the team I'm really watching.
I am too.
Packers in Minnesota, they're in Minneapolis. Aaron Rodgers and company giving 1.5 in an NFC North game to kick things off, a 325 game. I wouldn't touch this from a betting standpoint, but from a viewing standpoint, I'm planning to have at least one TV on it.
I'm taking Minnesota, and I just can't get out of my head what happened to Green Bay in Week 1 when they played the Saints in Jacksonville and lost 38-3 last year. I just can't get it out of my mind. And then Allen Lazard's already banged up. No Devontae Adams. Minnesota's always tough at home. I know it's their first game, the new coach, but Minnesota's going to be fired up and ready for this game. And it's one of those things. I'm going Minnesota here. I like them.
Help me here. You got to talk me out of something because I don't want to be this guy. I don't like the Dallas Cowboys, though I am a Sam Williams fan. I'm thrilled for Sam and his what he's been able to accomplish so far and that kind of thing. But I don't like the Cowboys. I haven't liked them since I was a little boy. I'm not going to start liking them now. But I love getting 2.5 in Dallas against this Tampa team on Sunday night at home.
I like Dallas here too. I'll tell you what else I like is the under. So Tampa, Ali Marpet, their guard, retired. Their other good guard, Alex Capps, signed with the Bengals. Ryan Jensen, they're all pro centers out for the year, and they've got other O-linemen banged up already. Brady missed, 2 weeks of camp, going to Bahamas with his family?
Yep.
I feel like Tampa could start slow here, and they're at Dallas, at New Orleans first 2 games. But on the other side of it, Dallas behind CeeDee Lamb, their receiving core, I mean, Amari Cooper's gone. Michael Gallup's not back yet. James Washington got hurt preseason. They're banged up, and then Tyron Smith, their left tackle's out. I feel like this game could be, it's 50.5. Everybody remembers the 31-29 game. They played that really fun Thursday night game 1 last year. I'm leaning under here just with all these injuries on both offenses. And I like Dallas. I always feel like, Neal, road favorite by 2.5 is the sucker line. And Tampa on the road here laying 2.5. And Buffalo's laying 2.5 tomorrow night too. Those are the 2 lines that always, that line always weirds me out. So I'd lean Dallas if anyone, and I'm looking at taking this under.
We talked about how they start the schedule in the NFL. They finish Monday night with an intriguing game because of the soap opera drama part of it. Denver, with Russell Wilson as its quarterback, heads to Seattle, where he used to be the quarterback. Denver giving 6.5. The over/under is 45. Man. I don't like Seattle's team at all, but 6.5 is a big number.
And it's one of those spots where it's just so hard to do this because, how do you bet Seattle because you're starting Geno Smith? But they're the right side here. Public's 85% Denver. We all seen how that Seattle 12-man crowd gets. You know how hyped they're going to be for Wilson coming back on Monday night.
And they know everything about Russell Wilson. Everything.
I kind of think this could be an under. Maybe Seattle's crowd keeps them in it a little bit. But it's one of those spots. It's so hard to take Seattle, but I'm doing it here. I mean, I'm just going to fade the public, slamming Denver on the road. I think Seattle's got a good home field advantage. My thoughts on it, though, hopefully it'll get to 7 or 7.5 by Monday night, and I'd like it a little more. That's my thoughts.
Yeah. Hey, that's great stuff. I love talking NFL.
Me too. Love coming on here, too. Always do. You put out a great product, and I know a ton of the Ole Miss faithful love listening to it. As far as my Oxford, I'm doing Ole Miss, Kentucky for sure. So
Okay.
I'm doing Kentucky, and then they announced the Barstool College Football Show is going to be in Baton Rouge for Ole Miss LSU. So those two are on my calendar. And if the season's going really well, I might go to Bama, but that's going to be that's going to be kind of a last minute one.
What do you guys have going on at Barstool this weekend?
Oh, man, a huge NFL Week 1 stream. One of my best friends' 40th birthday is Saturday night, so I'm glad I get to go to that party. I've got a lot of 40th birthdays coming this year. Man, that went quick.
Yeah. Wait till the next 10 go as fast as they're going to go, bud.
Yeah, you ain't kidding, man. God, bless, it goes so fast. But I'm going to be on a lot of the streams, and we're going to do a big NFL Week 1 stream from Hoboken. Stephen Shea and I we're doing our fantasy football podcast. We're actually going to do it live at noon Eastern, 11 Central, where we take fan questions on start sit. We give out all our gambling picks. That's going to be a big thing an hour before kickoff on Sundays. And yeah, I'm up here. I mean, that's what's going to be the next couple of weeks. And I'm filming. We're doing a big rediscovering Louisiana with Nick Trani and Donnie and KB, which is going to be a really fun production. So I've got that in a few weeks running through South Louisiana, and can't wait. Like I said, the Kentucky weekend, and it's Kentucky game and Mempho Music Fest that weekend too, with Black Keys, Jason Isbell, and Widespread Panic. And so the Oxford Memphis combo that October 1st, that weekend, I'm very excited about.
I'm glad to hear it. Hey, it's always great to catch up with you. Hope to talk to you again real soon.
Look forward to it. Hope to be coming on here every week, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's just. I'd love to go run through the NFL games with you every week for Thursday. That'd be a lot of fun.
Let's do it. Thanks again,
Okay.
Neal. Appreciate it.
All right, Ben. That was Ben Mintz, Barstool Sports. Thanks for his time. It's 10-0 Bills.
Kind of dominated it so far.
Are they second quarter yet?
Yeah, they're in second quarter.
Second quarter.
About midway through, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 8:48 to go, second quarter. Stafford threw a pick. Bills scored on their first possession. LA's had a kind of a hard time moving the football. They have been kind of conservative early in series. What point of the game does Jackson Dart come in on Saturday?
I think fairly early. Just a gut feeling.
Third quarter?
Maybe even before that.
Oh, first half.
It's kind of my. I mean, I've got a theory, and I could be way off, and so I hate to even express it because it's based on absolutely nothing other than just sort of gut feeling. That's it. I think he wants Dart to be his quarterback. And I think based on what he said on Monday, he basically got out of Jackson what he wanted to see.
Oh.
And if you watch Pete's, I know you haven't had a chance to watch it yet. If you watch Pete's Pigskin preview, we break down the pick. And it wasn't a great play by Jackson by any stretch of the imagination. It was a mistake, but it wasn't completely his fault. It was, at the end of the day, it was his fault. It was a bad throw.
So what do you feel like was not?
I don't think Trigg got a great release, and I don't think Trigg really ran the correct route exactly the way it was supposed to be run. Now, Jackson locked in on him. But I think Trigg was supposed to make a different adjustment than he made.
Okay.
His first game. Look, he threw one pick. Threw 27 passes, threw one pick.
How do you think running back carries are split on Saturday?
I think they'll get Bentley some more carries. I think they'll show him that they're not upset at him. I think they'll let Judkins run his value up some more.
You mean that from a game potential standpoint, right?
I just mean value. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they get Bullock a few carries. I don't know. If you're
You think we're doing the highlights, Judkins should have the little cash register thing when
ding,
he
ding,
when
ding,
he gets
ding,
the,
ding. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what Kentrell's situation is. If you're Kentrell right now, you probably have to think, there's not a lot more I can do. You have to start thinking to yourself,
He's good. He's not bad.
oh, he's a good player.
Yeah.
It's just not as good as those two guys.
Yeah, Judkins has been a problem for his playing time.
Yeah. It's Judkins, not Evans, that eats his playing time.
Yeah. I mean, Evans was always going to get his.
Yeah, and I think they got to manage Zach. You want to have Zach in October and November. You're not trying to win the September Super Bowl. Got to be careful with that, because that's the knock on him, is that he's had a hard time staying healthy over the course of his career. Yeah, Dart. The throw for Dart, the proper read on that pick was to check it down to Evans, who probably could have walked into the end zone. But he was he was locked in on Trigg, and then Trigg made a bad adjustment when he ran in. Trigg ran into traffic. But when you watch it, it wasn't as egregious a play as it looked live. Probably another lesson to us when we write about games, to not write so emphatically.
So we get a little better.
So you get a chance to talk to some people and look at it, and talk to them after they've had a chance to look at it. It's one of the reasons that coaches sometimes say, I need to look at the film. That's not always a cop-out. Sometimes they truly need to look at the film and see what happened.
Well, they can't watch all 11 positions in real time. Coaches are just like everybody else. You got to either pick the ball or something else.
Yeah, sure. They need a chance to look at things. All right. We'll open the phone lines here in a moment. I say phone lines. It's just one phone line. We'll open the phone line, the Rafters Music and Food Hotline, singular, not plural. It's open. Thanks again to Ben Mintz. Corey, how are you?
What's up?
Just
am I live?
You are live. You are absolutely live.
What's going on?
Not much. We just got through talking to Ben Mintz, watching a little football, talking to you.
Nobody's, still upset about 28-10 victory over Troy. Are they still?
I'm sure there's someone
there
who is still upset. You can probably find someone. Are you upset?
I was good.
Are you? All right.
It looked vanilla to me.
Yeah, it was vanilla. They were very vanilla. Look, if you have to reveal your entire array of flavors to beat Troy, you've got problems on your hands.
Thought Dart could have ran for 200 yards and didn't. Threw it when he could have gotten 15 yards, but I only stayed for the first half. Worried about it, I was.
Why'd you leave? That was not very fanish of you.
My bride.
There you go. You probably weren't the only one that left because people said, it's hot, let's go.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to?
Slinging metal, When I get it, it's tough. We're hanging in. Good. What up? So you talked me into downloading Spotify today.
I know. Well, I've tried to tell people, and I know it's hard to convince people to switch podcast platforms, and I get it, but I highly recommend at least downloading Spotify on your phone and having it available to you. It's a superior podcast app. It's more consistent. And all of our stuff is, every single thing we've loaded today is live on Spotify. I cannot say the same for Apple. Chase has reset. He's done a manual reset of our Apple podcast feed twice today.
It's still processing the second time.
Okay. So it's
what was crazy to me, I was trying to listen to the y'all's podcast, the Oxford Exxon podcast in the morning, and it was not on there, but mine on our money was on there.
Right.
Which was loaded after. Yeah, I know.
So, but I get on Spotify, and they're right there, boom, 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 right there in a row.
Yeah, Butcher versus Spin Instructor is on Spotify. Pete's Pigskin preview is on Spotify. McCready and Siski is on Spotify. None of the above is on Apple right now. I mean, I don't know what else to tell people. And there are people who are like, look, I'm not going to add another one. I'm like, I get it. I understand. I'm just telling you.
It is technically somewhere you can access it.
And it's free, and I think it's a better user experience. Honestly, I do. I prefer Spotify. I use Spotify the majority of the time now. But I get it. I understand people who are like, look, this is what I use. I don't want to add another thing. I understand. It's just we're literally doing all we can do, and behind the scenes, I'm nudging people.
There.
What's that?
So how did Campbell do compared to you in picks?
She went 6-5. I did not. I went 4-7.
I'm there. I remember.
I think too much. She doesn't think. Like, for example, I said Alabama minus 38.5. She goes, William, that's fine. Whatever. I'll take Alabama.
Yeah, they're better. So
they're better, so sure. And I'm going, that's a lot of points. And Utah State, that's stupid on my part. It's just dumb. I mean, it's stupid. And, you know, I mean, she just goes initial thoughts. And frankly, if she had just done hey, and I'm going to pick Georgia every week too, instead of going, well, I kind of like teams that wear green.
You do run into that issue occasionally.
She'd have gone 7-4.
She picked Oregon because they were green.
Yeah, she likes Campbell's big on green. Green's her thing. So she typically takes green. So we're doing one final test on green. She's taking Baylor and the points because of green. And if Baylor doesn't win, she's going to have to reevaluate that.
Game on.
You broke up on me, Corey. What?
Game on.
Your connection's not great. You want to try to call back?
Game on right now.
The only game on right now is Bills Rams, and it is 10-0 Buffalo.
Oh man, okay.
Yeah, second.
So I did the thing where I thought that the Bills would kill them, so I picked the Rams. So that didn't work.
Well, it's not over yet because the Rams are inside the Buffalo 10 right now with 4:06 and counting to go in the second. So they could punch it in and make it a 10-7 game at the half, and it's far from
then you're rolling.
Far from over. I mean, the Rams aren't going to get shut down or shut out. I'm betting. So this thing is. You've watched enough good NFL teams to know this is probably going to be a fourth quarter game.
Okay. All right, y'all get after it. Get some more interesting calls than me. Shout out to my buddy Mark Shelton who told me to call in. He said, call in. So that's why I called in. My buddy Mark Shelton. If you're ever going through some trouble, call Mark Shelton in Tupelo, Mississippi. He'll get you out of it.
Thanks, Corey.
Have a good night.
You too. Yes, we taped G-Pits, and G-Pits is up on Spotify. I've loaded G-Pits actually into 2 separate SoundCloud accounts, and it's just not up on Apple. But it is up on Spotify. So highly recommend Spotify. It's not going to cost you anything to download the app. There's some Spotify premium stuff you can get, but you won't have to get that for us. Get Spotify. Jarrett, how are you?
Doing fine, Neal. How are you?
We're good.
Good,
So,
good. Hey, you predicted it. There's the touchdown right there. See?
well, I don't know that I predicted it per se. They were driving inside the 10, so I gave them a
Well, you alluded to the fact that it was possible.
yes.
Is that fair to say?
Yes.
There you go.
Stafford to Cooper Kupp, pending the PAT, it's going to be 10-7 with about 4 minutes or so, 3 minutes exactly to go in the second quarter. How are you?
Have you heard that commercial for like DraftKings where if you bet and if your team is up 10 at any point you win the bet?
I have not heard that. That's interesting.
Yeah. So if you bet Buffalo, then it would have hit.
If your team is up
And that does
up 10 over
at
the
any point in the game, up 10 points, then you win your bet. Does not matter what happens after that, is what they said.
It would be 10 over the spread, so they didn't quite get there.
No. Was it 10 over the spread, or is it just 10 straight?
I would assume it would have to be 10 over the spread.
I guess that's like 10 over the spread. Otherwise, like everyone and their mother would take Alabama this week.
Well, that's just for NFL, not college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because in college that would be ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that because there aren't a whole lot of 10-point lines in the NFL. Like the biggest line this week is what, 7.5?
Something like that. Yeah. So I mean, it's an interesting betting thing. Might take a look at it.
Yeah.
Later.
Yeah.
So okay. So I got 3 things to talk about. The first one, which we discussed earlier. So you got the Falcons going 12-0, right? Of the fighting variety, not the Atlanta variety.
Oh, I was going to say no. I do not have the Atlanta Falcons winning 12. No.
No.
I have not given a lot of thought to the Air Force's schedule, but my guess is that they're not going 12-0.
Well, so they're one of 6 teams that Vegas has favored in every game throughout the season. It's like Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma, USC, maybe, like somebody from the Pac-12, and then Air Force was one of them. So, I mean, the schedule's really soft. The only Power 5 team they play is Colorado this week, and they're 17-point favorites.
Yes, I'm pulling up their schedule right now.
And Utah State's down.
They've already beaten
Boise's down.
They beat Northern Iowa. So they play Colorado, Wyoming, Nevada, Navy, Utah State, UNLV, Boise State. There's probably a challenge there. Army, that's probably a challenge there. New Mexico, Colorado State, San Diego State, which I guess is potentially a challenge. Yeah, I guess they have a shot, don't they?
Yeah, the low. So I was looking through them the other day. Like the lowest FPI chances to win was like Boise at 52, Army at 54, and San Diego State at like 62 or something like that.
Feels like one of those would go the other way. I mean, that's
probably.
I mean, those are kind of coin tosses. If you have 3 coin tosses, you usually don't win them all.
Right. Hopefully it's not Army. I can't do that again. So,
I picked against Army this week. I felt kind of dirty doing it because
I think picking against Navy consistently would probably be a safe thing to do.
I like UTSA. UTSA is a good team.
Kind of curious where their coach
they are. Curious what, Chase?
Where their coach ends up. Is it Jeff Traylor?
The UTSA coach?
Yeah.
So you got to think somewhere if he keeps doing it, right?
Yeah, he's been good.
Yeah. Does he do the Napier thing and like hang out there for a long time until he like gets the pick of the litter, or do you think he can't sustain it as long as Napier could?
I don't know what they're paying him.
Yeah, I don't know what he's making, how much he likes San Antonio. I mean, it's a good place to recruit, all that. I don't know. Napier's a unique bird because
he was one patient son of a gun.
But he knew he was going.
Yeah, he obviously didn't care, or he just knew that he was going to keep winning no matter what, and he would get his chance.
Well, he was going to win there, and he knew he was going to win there.
And he could keep winning there.
Yeah, and I think the difference
it just didn't really matter.
The difference was he really liked it there and was willing to stay a while. Like it wasn't. I mean, he wanted to coach elsewhere, but if he had stayed another year, he wasn't going to be torn up about it. So I don't know like what that guy's situation is in San Antonio. Does he love it? Does his family love it? All those things. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's worse places.
Okay, so second thing.
There's worse.
Sorry, go ahead, Neal.
There's worse places to live as a wealthy person than Lafayette, Louisiana. Lafayette's kind of cool. It's got a culture. It's kind of neat.
Lafayette.
Yeah, most people who have been in Lafayette like it, and if you have a ton of money there, well, you can avoid all of the negative.
Yeah, and you can get to New Orleans and Houston and stuff, Dallas, relatively easy. So, makes sense. Okay, so the second thing is the Ole Miss thing. So, football gods are making an appearance. Is it okay if I invoke the football gods?
Sure.
Not you guys?
No, it's all good.
Okay. So the football gods come and they say, I'm going to give you 2 choices. That Luke Altmaier is a starting quarterback this year and Ole Miss wins 9 games in the regular season. Or that they're not going to tell you a win total, but they're going to tell you that Jackson Dart in his career at Ole Miss will be as good or better than Matt Corral. Which do you take?
But you get 9 wins this year?
9 wins this year with Altmaier as your quarterback.
I don't know how you could turn 9 down.
So what would the number be where you wouldn't take it?
Honestly, anything less than 9, and I'm just taking Corral for sure. Dart is good at
right.
Okay.
Because 8-4 is not changing your program.
No, 8-4 probably
that
means
9th win is pretty significant on the back of the 10 last year.
Right.
That suddenly you're just a 9-win program.
Yeah, because 8-4 means you went 4-4 in the league. Which is
but okay. What if I change it? What if I said that 9-3 does not give you an access bowl? Because I think as good as some of the rest of the teams in the SEC are this year,
I don't care.
That could be the case.
That wouldn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
9 wins on the tail end of 10 wins means you suddenly are in that.
You've arrived.
Yeah, you've arrived. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. All right, and so then the final one is sort of a journalism question. So, and this maybe applies more to Chase because I think it might have happened to him and it hasn't happened to you, Neal. So you guys are really big on objectivity and not being fans of the teams that you cover, right? Which I think myself and most of your listeners or subscribers really appreciate. So, Chase, would it be fair to say that you grew up as an Ole Miss fan?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So, do you ever miss getting to be a fan of Ole Miss? Or like Neal, you've talked about how you always kind of wanted a dream of yours was to cover the Cubs. So obviously you're a huge Cubs fan. And so, based on your journalistic ethical code, if you were to cover the Cubs, you couldn't be a Cubs fan anymore. So is that something that you would miss that would factor into that decision?
Yes. It's actually something I thought about at different times because there was a point early in my career where getting into Major League Baseball was a possibility. And two things kind of stopped it. One was, and this was the big one. The big one was I talked to somebody who said to me he'd been on a Major League beat for 3 or 4 years, and he said, the one thing you don't ever see in a Major League Baseball press box.
Yeah.
And
wedding rings.
And I said no, and he goes, you won't see a wedding ring. And I didn't want to do that. And then, but the other part was that because I told myself, look, if you ever do something where you get into covering Major League Baseball, the whole Cub thing, it's over. I mean, you got to let it go. You can't be a Cub fan and cover the Brewers or the Royals or something. It's not possible. You got to let that go. And I don't know. Would that have stopped me from taking the job? No. The travel and what that would do to your marriage and your family, that's what ultimately stopped me from pursuing that. But yeah, look, I mean, it would be something that I knew I would always have to consider if I decided to get into something like that. If I took a job like that, I couldn't cover the Cubs as a fan. Look, there are people who can, and good for them, but I don't know how you do it. And I've watched some people who I think are pretty professional and who are damn good, who are fans of teams that they cover, get super emotional when those teams lose. And it comes across as anger. And it's unprofessional.
It also takes them a little time to get writing and started because they have to come down off the emotion. Yes. You'll see them have to sit there for minutes and maybe half an hour and
their work
collect
is shit.
Themselves.
And their work in those days is shit. I mean,
Or I would imagine I wouldn't be able to, how you say you write kind of as the game's going on. If I'm watching my team, there's no way I could do that.
Oh, picked.
Oh, another pick. Yeah, the Rams right back in the thing. Yeah, no, it's. I listen. People, and even someone like me. Look, there are kids on the team that I like, and I don't. I can get disturbed if I see a kid on a team, even a kid on another team, like injuries or stuff. But if I know a kid and he gets hurt, and I've met his family or whatnot, I mean, that part's hard to kind of put aside and do your job. And I don't know. It's just if you think about it logistically, this is something that a lot of people struggle with. If you think about it logistically, you just cannot cover something objectively or cover something well if you're not objective. It's really hard. I don't, and maybe the super talented people can do it. I just don't put myself in that category.
Yeah. Chase, do you ever feel that way about Ole Miss? Man, I kind of wish.
I don't miss that.
Baseball in particular, maybe?
No, if anything, because I'm kind of a fan of the sports. I mean, I still enjoy watching baseball in general. I don't really lose that. If I miss anything, it's just we wouldn't do it every week. And trust me, I don't know that I would go to football games, but it's more the socialization aspect of I've got friends and family and people who go to those games. And I mean, I haven't sat in a non-NFL football stadium as a fan since 2005. I don't think there's even another game that I've just went to at some point. I'll go down and see people at baseball for a minute, but I'm not just hanging out and having a beer and popcorn and that kind of thing. It's more of that. It's one of the reasons I go to basketball games because I don't cover the sport. So I'm not cheering, but I like just being in an arena as a spectator and just kind of hanging out and leaving whenever I want to and those things. So if there's a thing I miss, it's more along those lines from a socialization, from a just watching something without constantly going, okay, what am I writing? What am I doing? Am I keeping up with a message board or Twitter or whatnot? And I don't really have that. So it's that, and then two, people don't really understand what we do. So I'll get asked tons of things about things, and you go, yeah, that's not my Saturday is not what you think my Saturday is. So yeah, I mean there are things I miss, but it's not really a fandom thing. I mean the Saints.
I'll tell you the thing I miss.
Yeah, sure.
Don't miss it, but I missed it. We didn't get to do it. Like sometimes I'll see a family at a game, and I'm kind of jealous a little bit if I'm honest. Like, a dad takes his son, they go to games, whether it's Ole Miss or State or LSU or anywhere else. I mean, I've gone to lots of stadiums. I see it everywhere. I'm kind of jealous of that. They get to share something together all the time. We went, Carson and Laura and I went up to Fayetteville last year to the Mississippi State game because it was Kyo Dad's weekend, and we went to that game. It was the first time we'd ever been to a college game as a family. Ever. It's the first game that the five of us had ever attended together as a family, one time. So I didn't get that. I didn't get to take my kids to games because I was working. So that's just kind of one of those. But look, that's part of it. It's part of the gig. So it's one of the reasons that Carson and I would go to pro games because I wasn't covering pro sports. We could go to pro games and stuff like that. So I don't know. So everything's got pros and cons. That's life.
Yeah. Okay, one more thing, a yes or no, Chase. Buy or sell Winston long term with the Saints?
Define long term.
5 seasons.
Oh God, no. Sell.
Yeah,
I'll go 2.
I might even go
2.
3, but that'd be my limit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Jarrett, for the call.
Hey, thanks, guys. Have a good night.
All right, I will put the phone line back up. 662-259-8563. Love to hear from you. 10-7 Buffalo, but the Rams threatening at the 31 or 32. I can't tell. 40 seconds or so to go. Stafford converts a third down, so they'll keep rolling. Syracuse minus 22 is what Grind's saying. Duke and Northwestern under. He's got Baylor versus BYU over 53. That's interesting. Got ULL, Eastern Michigan under. I've got ULL covering a line on that game. I got ULL covering, I think it's 14 against Eastern Michigan.
Look at that real quick.
Oh, jeez.
I'm sorry, people. Give us 10 seconds. It's bad pod, but sorry, I just couldn't wait.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
What a day. All right, the phone's open. I'm reading the thread as well. I'll tell you my NFL picks. Tell me which ones you like.
Okay.
All right. So Siski and I are picking 5 a week.
You get to pick any 5?
Any 5.
Okay.
And I can do over-unders. I'm not good at over-unders. I'm better at spreads.
While you're looking for that, the MLB is going to vote on some rule changes this week. They include a 15-second pitch clock with the bases empty and a 20-second clock with runners on. 2 disengagements from the rubber, including pickoff attempts per plate appearance.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, that's moving. That's getting it going. A requirement by hitters to be in the batter's box and alert with 8 seconds to go on the clock. Hitters are allowed 1 timeout per plate appearance only.
Okay.
Only 2 infielders will be allowed on each side of second base, with all 4 required to be on the dirt or inner grass.
Oh, that's eliminating the shift.
Well, it's not just eliminating the shift. Deal.
Hold on, caller, 1 second.
The number of infielders that play that short right field way back.
Right. There's a ton of teams.
Yes. That would be where it would be like, whoa.
So they have to stay on the dirt.
They have to stay with dirt or inner grass.
Fascinating. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, this is Talbot Byes from Vicksburg. How are y'all?
We're good. How are you?
Good. So, throw you a little curveball. So my brother plays at State. He is at State because Ole Miss did not offer. But they go to Tucson this weekend. And I know with the Rebs baseball history, we've been to Tucson. So what are some things to do in Tucson?
Honestly, I did not go to that last year, so I am pretty out on that. This is a really bad pod for your question, but I have absolutely no idea. People in the thread, but I don't know.
I've been to Phoenix a lot, but I've never been.
I've done Tempe.
I've never been to Tucson.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I played there. Not a State guy. Didn't make it out to Tucson for the baseball, but I'm not going. The rest of my family's going. It's opening weekend of blue wing teal season, so I will be hunting those somewhere and sitting in my recliner watching football. But I'll hang up. I'll listen to the thread. Follow.
How's it going to go Saturday? By the way, are they going to? Is State going to cover that 9? Just curious.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, I was there last weekend. Sat through the lightning delay. Got back to Vicksburg about 3:45 in the morning.
Oh God!
So it was a grind. It was a late night, but no, State honestly looked really good. Offense, Rogers, scanned the field and threw a lot of dump passes, but I mean, heck, he threw for like 400 something yards. But State, honestly, this is Leach's 3rd year. Obviously, my allegiance is to Ole Miss, but I'm going to pull for my brother and
of course
my brother only. But State honestly looked like they had a really solid ball club.
I think they'll be solid. Tyler and I talked about this earlier today. I mean, I think they're going to make noise in the West. Not win the West, not contend for the West, but I think they're going to. I mean, look, everybody's got to go through them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason why, just being realistic, they shouldn't get, 7, maybe 8 wins. So, we'll see how it goes. So, anyway, I mean, regardless, it's, I think the SEC West is pretty solid this year.
Yeah, I do too. Hey, thanks for the call, Talbot. Appreciate you.
Y'all take care. Thank y'all. See you.
I don't think that's out of the realm.
No.
State wins 7 or 8. I mean,
somebody's got to suck, but I don't know that anybody does suck. Somebody's going to get unlucky in close games.
That State LSU game next week is a game we're going to talk about a lot. I'm just telling you.
That and Auburn Penn State is such a, hey, the loser goes, I missed one there.
Yeah, there's one more next week too. It was the late one. What's up, Grind?
Yo, how you doing, man?
Man, we're good. How are you?
Oh, man, just enjoying the show. Man.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I agree with y'all. I'm gonna pick up from that Mississippi State, man. Shoot, to me, I ain't see too much of them. I watch highlights and everything. First off, I wish my only gripe with the SEC, the only thing they need to follow the ACC on is put condensed versions of the games out on YouTube. The ACC does that so great. It's so great. I wish the SEC would do that.
Yeah, I'd like to. You could really keep up a little better if you could just watch all the quickly.
Exactly. But yeah, man, Mississippi State looked like the number 2 team in the West to me. Maybe I mean, was I tripping?
Hey, listen, I mean, we did this thought exercise. It got me in trouble because people turned it into I was hyping LSU. But my point,
well, you said they were going to beat Alabama.
I did not.
My God, I mean,
I did not. My point.
That is hyping. You drunk on gumbo?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't that. No. So the thought exercise was the football gods come down and tell you that all they'll tell you is one fact: that Alabama does not win the West, and they say go. Well, so at that point, this is what's interesting about the West is that you can suddenly start making arguments for a bunch of teams. I mean, different arguments are stronger than others, but like you can't completely go, okay, all right, so we're down to 6. Now, process of elimination, who are you eliminating? That was my point.
LSU. LSU. I'm eliminating LSU after what I saw.
Yeah,
I'm eliminating them.
But I didn't have the benefit of the Florida State game.
No, yeah, I understand. Okay, now look, that would be a nice little exercise. We do that every week. Who gets eliminated?
So who do you eliminate right now? So the only team that I've seen so far that I would go, nope, is LSU. I could make an argument. I could make an argument for Auburn. It's not a good argument, but it's a stretch.
I got to see some more.
Well, yeah, I did too, but I got to see more with Ole Miss. I got to see more with Mississippi State. I'd like to see State play a good team. I got to see more with Texas A&M. I know they're athletic as hell, but I'd like to see more. I'd like to see more with Arkansas. I mean, that's what you can do that with everybody. I'd like to see more.
If Arizona covers, does that change your opinion?
Oh God,
sure,
yes.
Of course.
It does.
Yeah, because if Arizona goes and scores a bunch of points against Mississippi State, I'm going to know that they're giving up a bunch of points to everybody.
So if State walks out 31-24 winners.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing about State that I've been thinking, which is they're good. They're good, but they're not that good.
Okay.
Now the flip side is if State goes and whips Arizona like 49-7 or something, I'm like, whoa, hold up. There might be something there.
I personally don't see that. I think that game is going to be a little closer than what Mississippi State fans want. I think they still win, but I just got to – that game, like SEC teams playing 10 o'clock at night, I just don't think Mississippi State just going to go out there and just dominate. I don't see it.
So who's finishing last in the West?
Who do I see finishing last in the West?
Uh-huh.
The loser of LSU Auburn probably.
Yeah, probably.
But the loser of LSU Auburn.
I'd like to see. I got. There's other teams.
And man, like
I
know people aren't going. I know I might make a little enemies, but I don't think like being last in the West may not necessarily mean that you booted this year. You may be 6-6 or 7-5 at last in the West.
Well, that's what Braden Gall said that day, and everybody got mad at him. He said he was picking Ole Miss last, and he still thought Ole Miss would win 7 games. And I was like, I think Ole Miss is better than last, but I understood his argument.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I mean, there's
I think they are too. But man, I tried to tell y'all about Georgia and Notre Dame last week, man. I tried.
You did.
You don't know how many people called me after that Georgia game. I was down there in Auburn just taking calls like, God dang, I don't know. Just, man, you was right. But,
Georgia looked
I just knew.
Georgia looked like a machine.
Hey, man, you talking to a guy that done seen Bo Nix play plenty of times. Like in the group chat, we don't call him Bo Nix. We call him Mo Picks. That's all he going to do, go out there and throw Mo Picks.
But you know
That's
what?
the only thing he going to do.
You're right, but there was so much more to that. That was an annihilation that went far beyond the quarterback. I mean, Bo Nix,
hey, man, you know what?
Bo Nix does not play for Oregon's defense.
That's true.
And they had no answer at all.
Well, I listened to an Oregon podcast, and they basically said that if Oregon and Georgia, they didn't basically say it, they said it, that if Oregon and Georgia played 10 times, Georgia win like 8. I said, oh no, Georgia going 10-10 against that.
Come on. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, like, hey, I know we got to placate to the fans a little bit.
Kirby called the dogs off his friend. I mean, no, 10 out of 10. I mean, the only way. I mean, if you told me like half of one of Georgia's planes crashed or something, okay, well then maybe. But otherwise, no. God, no. Oregon could have 100 shots at Georgia. I know what I saw. That was a machete going through like soft butter.
Yeah.
That was a disaster. Yeah, that was a disaster.
Now, I know you saying your opinion of Ohio State changed. So, do you no longer see this as a 3-team thing? You see it. You just see Alabama and Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, look, I know Notre Dame's good, and Notre Dame is better than I probably thought they would be. And I'm a big Marcus Freeman fan, and I'm not surprised that Notre Dame was as ready to play as they were. That being said, there's just kind of an eye test thing, and I sort of know what I saw. Now, maybe I'm wrong, and if I'm wrong, people always love to come at you with
kind of with
people kind of love to come at you, and when you do what we do for a living and go, you were wrong about this. It's like, yeah, okay, but if I never had an opinion in 20 hours of podcasting a week, how shitty would the podcast be? You got to have some opinions, and if you have opinions, then some of them obviously are going to be wrong. And so maybe I'm wrong about Ohio State. It was one game. But I tell you what kind of hit me grind a little bit watching Ohio State against Notre Dame as I was watching Florida and Utah was I thought the last 3 Ohio State games that I've watched, Michigan kicked their ass. They went toe-to-toe with Utah. I mean, they won, but it was back and forth. It was a 15-round duke them out, and then the final round, everybody just started throwing punches. And then I watched them play against Notre Dame, and I'm like, they're good. I mean, they're really good. They're talented and all that stuff. But then you watch Georgia, which looks like this, as Tommy Tuberville used to say, rolling ball of butcher knives. And you watch Alabama, and Alabama looks like a robot out there. Just like, we're just going to score. Give me the ball. You are not going to score. We are going to get the ball back. We are going to score. That's what Alabama looked. I'm like, both of these teams look like they'd whip Ohio State. And so maybe I'm wrong. It was one game, and you can do the first game overreactions. But, yeah, I kind of think we're looking at a 2-team season.
And I hate that, man. The 2 teams. And I know it's
weird sucks for the sport.
I hate Georgia way more, but I hate. And now, look, I will say this, y'all. I bet Alabama minus, I want to say 19 this week. I got Alabama minus 19 on one of my parlays. Do you know the last time I bet on Alabama?
Bet on Alabama?
Yep, the last time I bet on Alabama to cover.
In the Iron Bowl.
Yeah, the Iron Bowl in Tuscaloosa.
No. The last time I bet on Alabama to cover was last year after Texas A&M just lost to Mississippi State. I said, oh, hell yeah, they finna cream them. And Zach Calzada went out there and lit them up. Boy, if I lose a little 5 on this parlay because Texas pulled something because I bet it on Bama, I would not be mad at all. But I don't think it's going to happen, though.
No, but if it does, you should announce to the world because everyone will contribute to you every single week to go ahead and bet Alabama. It'll all work out. You could go and you could form a business if you could get that to go.
Man, I was so pissed off last year. I said, what? I said, what is going on? I did not see that coming. I got kicked out of my friend's house because he was a Bama fan. He was like, man, you just got to go, bro. This ain't happened all season. And so then Bama still ended up losing. But shoot, yeah, man. I just wanted to get you guys' thoughts on last week and, about this week and shoot. I'm gonna keep on enjoying the show.
All right. Thanks, Grant. Appreciate you.
All right, you too, man.
Yeah, Cole, I apologize for an airplane reference. That was crazy last Saturday morning, by the way. Like I woke up and I don't know what it was about it. I thought this isn't real. And then I kept realizing, no, they're talking about right now.
Well, you're terrified because could have run into anything, could have crashed just in the middle of town. And then you're going, in your head, you got to go, Columbus is not far. Do you go get a.
Because I want to ask you something, because I heard something for the very first time this week. I'd never heard it before. And the more I thought about it, the more I went, So I'm going to ask you about it in a minute. Okay. Remember shooting down.
All right.
Hey, who do we have?
What's up, guys? It's Bobbin Red.
Hey, Bobbin, what's up?
Nothing much. I'm down bad.
What do you mean?
In gambling?
Yeah, a little bit.
It's only week 2.
So, open. Huh?
It's only week 2.
Exactly.
All right.
I'm down bad.
Oh, you came charging out of the gates, man. You got to be careful.
This is like first round of a boxing match. They just throw some jabs. They just start filling each other out a little bit.
I mean, when you miss something so long and it just comes back to you, you got to go all out.
I disagree, but go ahead. What happened?
I went Oregon big.
Oh.
Hold on.
Why?
I went Ole Miss in the over big.
Ooh, but why?
And you know what? The one that probably pisses me off the most.
There's one worse than that.
Did it off the fly.
Wow! Wait, hold on.
You know what pisses me off the most?
No.
Is I went Illinois over Indiana on that Friday night.
Well, that was understandable.
That should piss you off the least because you actually had a beat on that.
There was logic in that one. The under on Ole Miss was a really strong. Like you could see that coming a mile away.
I feel like we hit the over on a lot of our first games of the year, with the exception of the god-awful 19 Memphis game, though.
You had Matt Corral.
Yeah, when you're playing two quarterbacks and...
Well, no, that's not true, Neal. We hit it with Tamu and Patterson, too. I mean, hell, when Freeze, for his last couple of years,
yeah, but
when we had Chad Kelly, I mean...
Y'all didn't play defense those last couple of years. I mean...
a lot of overs.
Y'all were basically running the air.
Hey, that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor
You didn't have a linebacker on the roster.
Yeah, hold on. Are you saying a Wesley McGriff defense covered the over? No.
Defense, we don't need those guys.
I really don't appreciate y'all hating on my guy, Rommel Mayo, or however the hell his name was pronounced.
Mayo, yeah. He led Oregon State in tackles. Apparently, they're slower out there because he had a really hard time getting to the point of contact here.
Yeah.
It's really sad, too, because I didn't know until after the fact when the season started that Oregon State went 1-11 that year. I was like, oh, okay, so he was literally the best player on the team.
I remember watching him a couple
of
times.
He was literally the best player on the team.
I can remember watching
him. He wasn't
him
just one of the better players. He was the best player.
You were like, run to where he's going, not to where he is. Because by the time you get to where he is, he's not going to be there anymore.
Well, it was funny, too, because I remember the national signing day before that, they missed on every single defensive recruit except Benito Jones. And, you know, they got the bailout the year before because they moved CJ to linebacker, and he was okay. And I think it was literally the Yayo and DeMarcus Gates and our guy Taylor Polk. Shout out to him. He's in coaching now.
At Troy.
He's at Troy.
And that was it.
Yeah.
Is he at Troy?
Yeah, he's the inside linebackers coach at Troy. Yeah, Taylor is. Yeah.
That's irony at its finest. No, but I took the over tonight. It's not looking good either. It was in the 50s. I don't remember the actual number.
It was 53 maybe. I looked it up this morning and you got a hard time.
I didn't expect there to be like 4 turnovers already in the game. Now, kind of wasn't expecting that, but that's Vegas for you. You know,
those buildings, they weren't built on credit.
Well, that's the one thing. You know, my dad always told me that when I got into gambling. He was like, "Son, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. This is the one advice. You know, you need to heed this. There's a reason the Vegas buildings do not stop getting taller."
Yeah. Carson mentioned gambling to me the other day, like betting on games. I was like, listen, hold up. We got to have a serious conversation because most people lose. You got to understand that. Most people lose. Like you don't.
Especially eventually.
Yeah. There just aren't many people who make real money betting on sports. They just don't. There are exceptions.
Sure.
There are people that do. Otherwise, nobody would do it. But the majority don't.
Ooh.
Yeah, I love the thrill. Man, I've had a couple good. I've been betting for 5 years now, and I've had 3 good ones, and God Almighty, I've had 2 bad ones.
So when you bet, what do you put on what's your normal unit on a game?
Probably, it depends on the comfort level. Like, I mean, if a game, I'm just like, you know what, I'm drunk. I kind of want to watch this, or I feel like this team should cover. I'll throw like 20 or 30 bucks on it. But the ones I'm really confident on, I'm just like, all right, full speed ahead. Let's lose some money.
Yeah.
And week 1 was not fun. Arkansas did bail me out a little bit though. I don't even want to talk about LSU. Honestly, that will be the last time I ever say that university's name ever again.
But LSU was a sensible bet. I understood that.
Yeah,
that's the only one where I'm still really confused.
The differential was so much that it wouldn't even be close. I didn't know they were going to come out looking like the most unorganized college football program in the league.
Talking about LSU?
I mean, that was just awful.
Yeah.
You had, 3 muff punts, 2 blocked field goal blocked, a PAT blocked.
Yep.
Your first-round receiver, it looks like he seriously regrets not transferring to Alabama. Like,
it was bad. It was rough. It was a bad look.
Yeah.
It was an inauspicious debut for sure.
Have y'all seen what the line is on them in State next weekend?
Someone
It's
said
State +1.
State. I heard State -1, but State +1. Yeah, that is going to be. I had the schedule up earlier. The SEC schedule next week. It's got like 3 good games. I know Auburn Penn State is the 2:30
South
game.
Carolina, Arkansas.
No, that's this Saturday.
Is it?
Yeah, that's this Saturday morning.
Yeah, we picked that in Neal's picks for
Arkansas.
Is Ole Miss Georgia Tech going to be competitive?
I don't think so. It'll be more competitive than. My guess is that Ole Miss will come out as like a 18
next
point
weekend's schedule: Georgia, South Carolina, Youngstown.
That's the other one.
Oof.
Youngstown State, Kentucky, Abilene Christian, Missouri, Ole Miss Tech, Penn State, Auburn, Vandy, Northern Illinois, UL Monroe, Alabama, State LSU,
Miami A&M.
Miami A&M.
Right.
That's it.
Miami A&M at like 8:00 at night.
That is correct.
Yeah.
On ESPN.
I think they're going to beat it now.
That's a good game.
I think Miami could.
Yeah.
That's a really.
I know it's a sneaky good game.
And Ole Miss is at what time?
Dude.
Ole Miss is at 2:30 on ABC because it's not a CBS game because it's at Georgia Tech. So it's part of the.
God, that field's going to be so freaking hot.
It's part of the ACC TV package.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I will say this though, as pissed off as everyone, and look, I was one of them because I took Ole Miss to cover. I feel like everyone was just so mad after that game, or just frustrated. And I get that because it didn't look like the best offensive showing against a Group of 5 team. But then I kind of looked around the rest of the league. Okay, Bama looks like Bama.
Yes.
Georgia looks like they're Bama 2.0 East, or whatever you want to call it. Kentucky was averaging like 1.3 yards a carry against Miami of Ohio. Arkansas looked good. State looks fine. LSU looked awful. A&M looked fine. There was no one that really stood out. I literally think the league is 1-2, and then it's just like, Florida. Florida looked really good.
But if Kentucky beat Florida this week, nobody would be that blinking on it and go, okay, 1 week overreaction, and then you're back to kind of incompletes for everybody.
Yeah, which I don't know. Was it Kentucky? They're the one that doesn't have the running back, right?
That is correct.
Okay, is that an NCAA thing? Because I heard something like 3 weeks ago about another kid they're investigating.
NCAA/NIL related.
Is it Barian Brown related? Because
I don't know. I don't.
It doesn't sound like.
I don't think so.
Okay, because I remember that was a kid that
it was
kind of raised some eyebrows because I think it was like Ole Miss and Bama, and then all of a sudden he was at Kentucky, and everyone was like, "Oh, look at that!"
Yeah, it was Ole Miss, Michigan, and Alabama, and then Kentucky stole him.
He ran a kickoff back 100 yards for a touchdown.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Who did?
Brown.
Oh, Brown.
Yeah, they're getting their money.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he would have played this year.
Oh, for sure.
The 2 biggest misses to me in recruiting were him and Jaheim Otis, because Jaheim Otis would have. Everyone talks about how the defensive line has depth this year. If Jaheim Otis was here, he would have started day one, I think. I don't even think it would have been quite. I think it would have been him and Pegues.
He'd be a huge difference maker for sure. No doubt.
Yeah. But all right, guys, thanks for taking the call.
Yep.
All right, thanks, Bobbin. All right, so I was listening. I think it was Rogan, but I'm not sure. Have you ever heard the theory that Flight 93 was shot down by the U.S. government and that the whole Let's Roll thing was basically made up just to make everybody feel good? That the flight, the plane wreckage was scattered in a way that would not, from an evidence standpoint, support a plane going down into the ground? I have not seen
detailed analysis about this. I have obviously heard this theory.
I had never heard this before.
But making it up to the level they did would require a conspiracy that, frankly, would make us go, yeah, you're right. Oswald didn't act alone.
Or, yeah, you're right. We didn't have to treat COVID the way we did.
Well, sure. But point being,
right,
the number of people that have to stay, that's not one person that goes, you know what, we're going to shoot it down, and then we're all going to take this oath. and we're going to create flight data and transcripts of sayings and calls. Because I guess that's my question. And because I don't, I mean, obviously I've read all this, but I don't remember. It's been a while. What do we know about actual calls to relatives on the plane as they were getting ready to do that? Because didn't some of them call their wives and families and go, "Hey, we're about to," or there's.
But that doesn't change the.
It doesn't mean they might have shot it down before they did it. I mean, I get that.
They shot it down
anyway
as all that was going on.
Well, yeah, I guess you still could be plotting to overtake the pilot.
The way that they talked about it, it was just this matter-of-fact thing. And what I caught myself going, oh, how about that? Like, I would have, 3 years ago, gone, nah. And now, after what we've...
Who was the guest or the expert?
I can't remember.
Okay.
I listened to a lot of different stuff. I told you who I was talking to. I tried not to listen to sports podcasts when I just to clear my brain a little, right? Just to kind of
I do the same thing.
And so I guess what struck me was in my own head, and I'm admitting that this might be a deficiency on my part. I caught myself going, nothing surprises me anymore. Like, that's the damage that's been done by the last several years, where you don't believe the government. You don't believe media. You don't believe anything. You don't necessarily think that I don't necessarily think that's true, but I'm like, okay, well, I can see it. Right? I mean, look at the headlines today. Like, I was listening to Corolla today. He was talking to the guy from the Babylon Bee, and they were reading Babylon Bee headlines that came true. Babylon Bee, for those who don't know, is a satire. Like, all these headlines came true. And you're like, yeah.
Was it the CIA covert guy? I mean, I'm looking through Rogan's podcast, and that's the only one that, from a paragraph description,
I think it was the Protect Our Parks people.
Oh, really? That guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was them. I'm not positive, but I think so.
Shane Gillis, Mark Norman, and Ari Schiffer.
And I haven't listened to all of that podcast because, frankly, I've listened to several Rogans all the way through, and sometimes Rogan can be too much.
Sure.
You know. Touchdown Buffalo halfway through the third.
17-10. If you're the Rams, you're kind of concerned because you've got turnovers and you've had a lot of opportunities and you're down a touchdown right now. The game flow is not good.
Rogan said that the let's roll thing was made up.
Really?
That's what he said.
I'd like to see more.
Yeah, I would too.
Okay.
But that the way that they found, this is per Rogan, right? They found the wreckage scattered in such a way that would support a plane being shot out of the sky. And his theory was that during that time when Bush was in the air, Cheney authorized it.
Oh.
The plane was headed for Washington. It's going to kill other people. Basically that it was doomed, so shoot it down over rural Pennsylvania.
Gonna have to marinate that one for a minute.
I know.
I
was out walking, and I stopped and just stood there for a minute and kind of thought to myself, what I thought to myself was, I wouldn't have believed this in 2019.
But this...
And today, it's not that I believe it, but I don't necessarily dismiss it.
But last Saturday, I did have that thought. When he had left Tupelo and headed more toward Union County, I mean, I think it was a logical thought to go, do you shoot it down? Because what if he does crash into Walmart or just West Main?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Yeah. I remember thinking, how do you just shoot one? And I'm glad they didn't, because he landed the plane safely and nobody was harmed, and hopefully he's getting help. But I remember thinking, what would go into shooting a plane down over Mississippi. How would you go about doing that? And I thought, what a weird thought to be having on a Saturday morning as you're sitting there sipping your coffee. But I thought, well, how would you do that? How would you shoot it down?
It would have to be over a rural area, because otherwise you're not actually helping anything at that point. You're actually sending shrapnel all into crowds. So it would have to be out in the middle of nowhere.
Right. But when you're flying over rural Mississippi, there's a whole lot of middle of nowhere. I mean, relatively.
Yeah, sure. I mean, his ability to land that plane and survive was fairly impressive.
Yeah, sure.
Because it still had fuel. It didn't blow up on him.
Right. No, he landed it with no one harmed.
And then, because they had gotten him basically talked out of the sky. And he got to the runway in Tupelo and the last second pulled back up and freaked out and went back into the air. Because they had a private pilot come in and talk him how to land. And at the very last second, he went back into the sky and did not actually land. And then landed an hour and a half later or whatever it was.
J.M. says we've lost our minds. I'm not
fair.
It's more than fair. I'm not saying that that was my thought, actually, as I stopped and contemplated what I just heard, because I'd never heard that before. I thought, is it crazy that I at least consider this? But I at least consider this to be true, and that this could have happened, and that 20 some odd years later, it's still a secret. And what I thought to myself was, and this is the damage I think that's been done the last few years to people, I consider myself quasi-sane. That 3 years ago, I wouldn't have believed any of that. Now I'm like, I don't know, maybe.
I mean, I can get behind this one. I'm not there yet at all, but I can get behind conspiracy theories occasionally and go.
Well, I mean, look, there's one that definitely happened. I mean, when you heard Mark Zuckerberg tell Joe Rogan that the FBI and stuff came to him and said basically to cover up this laptop thing.
Yeah.
I'm not getting in politics, but it's like, whoa, really? Wow.
I mean, as you know, I think the NFL rigged Reggie Bush to the Saints.
I know you do.
I do.
And stuff happens.
Legitimately believe
I mean, yeah. To save a franchise. And all they had to do was get Houston to just take Mario Williams, who's a good player.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Kept the Saints in San Antonio potentially. I mean, out of San Antonio potentially.
Yeah, because San Antonio probably didn't want a team in San Antonio and Houston and Dallas.
Yeah, we're going to talk to Cub. We're going to do the DB Cooper thing.
Yeah, I want to do the DB Cooper thing.
Frankly, I need to be a little more well-versed to make it a decent podcast.
Well, I do too. I've got to
That's
sit,
the part
I've
of the
got
problem.
to sit down and read it, and it's just been hard to find the time
because
to dive in.
he, I mean, in all seriousness, he might be one of the 10 most experts in the world on this situation. So he would overwhelm me if I'm not at least somewhat knowledgeable on this topic. Frankly, his email talking about getting him on intimidated me. So I need to.
Yeah.
Gonna need a minute here. That SC -9 versus Stanford makes you feel like Vegas is winking at you. Go ahead, jump on the Trojans. Go ahead. Have at it.
But Stanford will cover the 9.
I'm just saying, that's a weird line.
He's a hell of a good coach.
Yeah, that's kind of going, hey, yeah, go ahead.
My guy at Stanford. He's a hell of a good
David
coach.
Shaw.
Yeah, David Shaw. Yeah, I'm just reading the thread.
Von Miller got at Stafford. Is that what happened?
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah, there he is. It's almost like Von Miller's still really good.
Oh. That was not a good moment there for the tackle. Oh, God.
Oh. Not even a little bit. Oh. Yeah, not even. Nope. It's going to be a bad day in film.
But you are out there on the aisle in 101 with some space between you, and you go, this is not going to end well.
Well, just a guy like that, I mean, he's so talented. I mean, watch this move right here. It's on your screen. I mean, it's like he disappeared on him for a minute. It's like the offensive tackle's like, well, here he is, and there he's not there anymore.
I was just throwing away.
Only one rain. Yeah, I cannot have but one rain body fuel. I only have it on the days we do the show.
Oh, you don't take 3 or 4?
Mm-mm. I like them on Thursday though, because I'm kind of bouncing anyway, and it just sort of just
like I feel like Tyler has one every day.
Yeah, I think he probably does. He combines them with like a dip or something, and I'm like, dude, I don't know how you sit still. How far does Caleb Williams take USC? I don't know. I'd like to watch a little bit more.
I mean, their schedule's not tough, but I don't know.
Yeah.
10-2, 9-3.
Pac-12 sucks.
Yeah, whatever. They're not going 12-0.
No, probably not. Anything else?
I don't know. I mean, big Central Arkansas week. We'll break it down, dive into the too deep.
Just concerned about the weather.
Yeah,
I don't want to be there till 2 a.m.
You don't want the delay.
I don't want to be in the stadium till 2 a.m. That sounds miserable. Because
Well,
it would be miserable.
Yes.
Yes.
Bills getting the ball back up 7. Getting to be late third quarter there in the NFL opener. Buffalo's in pretty good shape at the moment.
All right, we'll stop there. Thanks to everybody for being in the stream. Thanks to all the people who called. Thanks to Ben Mintz, Barstool Sports, for joining us in hour number 1. As Chase said, we'll put this in 2 podcasts, and hopefully we'll get our podcast situation straightened. Really encourage you to download Spotify.
Please.
Make our subscribe to our thread, follow it. Our feed. Everything that we've published is there. So there's lots of stuff. Also go to our YouTube channel if you don't mind. Hit the like button. Leave a 5-star review, etc. We'd appreciate it. Chase will have the MPW Digital postgame show. I will be a guest. So will Brian Rippey. So will Jeffrey Wright. We'll talk about Ole Miss and Central Arkansas. And realistically, we'll talk about other things as well, because I mean, if we're really talking about Ole Miss and Arkansas,
we're going to need to kind of move it around a little bit. It's the perfect. If we're still talking about this game,
Saturday night, something went terribly wrong. Frankly,
well, yeah, I hope I'm talking to you going, hey, BYU, I'll be damn. Look at that.
How about that? Yeah,
yeah.
And then we'll be back on Monday with another edition of the Oxford Exxon podcast. Get started with yet another week as we get ready for Ole Miss and Georgia Tech next Saturday in Atlanta. So, Grind says Iowa wins 10-7, scores 5 safeties. I'll take it. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. 10-7 win over the Cyclones. Actually, I need more than that. I need at least another point.
You do need 3.
I need 6 safeties.
Yes.
All right, we'll stop there. Good luck to everybody's teams. If you're driving to Oxford or wherever over the course of the weekend, please be safe. And we will talk to you again Saturday night and then on Monday morning here on MPW Digital. Good night.